We do it a little bit different around here.
We ain't gonna play. We ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play. We ain't gonna play. Them dogs in your face.
Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play. We ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play. We ain't gonna play. Them dogs in your face. Shut up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape. Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro.
The tape.
UGA game day, boy, we ball out. Pull up, put the whole conference in the doghouse. Leave them 6 feet, see me on the win streak. All-star status, go coach and the bench deep. Offense on 10, how we run it? Your best ain't nothing, we gon' send them boys punting. Black and red, got them dead on arrival. Defense hunkered down for the tie. Hey, you don't want it with the dogs. Found guy on it, you don't want it with my dog. Break it down, play by play, that's the day-to-day. They know we ain't come to play, boy, it's UGA. Kirby smart, I cannot play the fool. Back to back, we did not come to lose. Back to back, like we got something to prove. Pay your dues, dog nation on the move. What's up?
We do it a little bit different around here.
We ain't gonna play, we ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
The tape. The tape.
We ain't gonna play, we ain't gonna play. Them dogs in your face.
Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play, we ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
Shut up. Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play, we ain't gonna play. Them dogs in your face. Shut up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape. The
Shut up
tape.
and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape. Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro.
Shut up. The tape.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to MBR, or as we like to call it around here, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. What's up? You like that? You really like that?
Let's shut up and grind some tape.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome in to the Film Guy Network on a fabulous Monday evening. We are officially back, okay? College football season. My chair feels a little low. College football season is officially back. We have a top 25 getting unveiled tonight. We got a starting quarterback that randomly popped up in a boot. We got a ton of things to talk about tonight. We got a loaded show for you. As always, make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button, like, subscribing, rate, reviewing. I want to start tonight's show in the most pressing area of need, okay? I need a little advice here, ladies and gentlemen. You strike me as a man who grew up with a lizard, as a pet lizard.
Me?
Did you have a pet lizard?
We had nothing but dogs.
Nothing but dogs. Did you have a pet lizard?
No.
Okay,
lizards.
so nobody with pet lizards here. All right. I have a young son who barehanded a lizard yesterday out in the wild.
Yeah,
just like
as they do.
Picked it up and was like, "Hey, Dad, got a lizard."
Fun.
Refused to put the lizard down. Wanted to take it home, pet lizard style. I was like, I don't know if the wild lizard is the one that we need to be growing and having in the house. So we're apparently going to get a lizard tomorrow. I just figured I'd bring it to the show tonight and ask for advice.
Don't you have a cat?
I do have a cat.
Cooked.
Cooked.
That
You know what? I think it's a good life lesson on both what death means and responsibility. You know, your first recollection with, oh, I could die too, is when your first fish gets flushed down the toilet or when your first lizard gets swallowed by a cat. You know what I mean? So I think it's a good opportunity to do both.
The only thing, though, is that fish cycle through rather quickly, so you get to learn the lesson quicker.
Apparently Google says one of these damn lizards I'm picking up tomorrow is supposed to be like a 20-year-old thing.
Oh,
Yeah, I had a buddy say he took his lizard to college, which I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. Your friends made fun of you in college. You were the lizard boy to your friends in college for the first 6 months.
Yeah, I don't know any lizard that has lived that long. Or pet.
Not 20 to 30 years, if taken care of.
Again, some expensive cat food, dude.
Yeah, I mean, not really. Lizards only running you about $35 nowadays
okay.
at the Petco.
That's expensive for one meal.
I think we're going to last a little bit longer than one meal. The key is a top to the
little
aquarium
tank thing or whatever.
Tank,
Yeah,
aquarium.
something like that.
Not an aquarium.
Just
No, there's a word for this.
the habitat.
Yeah, but it's one that connotes heat.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
You know what I mean?
Oh, incubator.
Incubator. No, that's where the eggs go.
But that connotes heat. Like,
Terrarium. Did we already go through that? That's for spiders, though. Hey, it sounds like I got a lot to learn. What do you say, AI? Terrarium. Terrarium, so says AI. I got a lot to learn tomorrow at the Petco. I'm excited. Speaking of a lot to learn, you guys got a lot to learn about these top 25 teams coming out tonight here on this network. This is our official Film Guide Network preseason top 25. Is this a first? It's a first on the network.
I think it's our first consensus top.
Yeah, well, we're going to consensusly rank, stand by it, 10 toes. These are our preseason ranked teams. Now, we did a way too early post-spring preseason ranked teams, but I feel like a lot has changed since then.
For sure.
Okay, one quarterback got removed from a roster for premarital coital. All right, so a lot has changed. We've had a new wide receivers get added to some of these rosters, transfers, whatnot, whole bowl of
Injuries.
So, injuries. We've had some updates to these rosters. So should we start it out? Should we go ahead and get it going?
let's just go ahead.
Make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button. Make sure you're liking and firing off in the chat today. Let's start with number 25. Them Cougars, BYU Cougars, coming in at number 25. Guys, I'm a big Kalani Sitake guy. I'm a big Kalani Sitake believer. I think he's one of the better football coaches in the sport.
Yeah, and Kalani Sitake has proven that he deserves of being recognized as one of the more consistent brands in college football, although they might not be consistently great. They've always been consistently good, and I think 25 is an appropriate ranking for them, especially with the fact that they lost their quarterback.
I mean, before the Retzclaff stuff, this was a consensus top 12 team. Consensus top 15
I mean, it was
team.
one of the
15 for
one of the few teams that kept getting thrown around like, hey, they could
Might win the Big 12.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
now it's like, they'll fight in the Big 12. They might make things interesting. Team you don't want to see on the schedule.
Now, look, as per usual with any Mormon-based roster, this is an older unit, okay? It's an older unit, as always, but I think even more traditionally, like, it's more uncommon nowadays. It's going to become more uncommon now that these COVID seniors are gone. The idea that you look at BYU's roster today and they're projected to start just one underclassman says a lot about just how old that roster is. That's not going to be the case at 90% of these other programs. Hell, some of these SEC programs are going to be looking at true freshmen to be starting for them by the end of the year. And I'm talking about the blue bloods, the blue chip stacked rosters are going to be looking at true freshmen. So they're an older unit. They're a much more mature roster. As always, the schedule doable. Schedule very doable out there in the Big 12. Good on BYU?
Yep.
Good on BYU. Number 24, Michigan. Now, I told you before the show, Michigan going to be a classic 8-4, 7-5, 9-3 ranked Power 4 team at the end of the year. This is the way it goes.
just one of those brands that always seems to just hang around the top 25. I think Michigan's kind of in a space where they were, where Georgia was in those 2013, 2014, 2015 eras. Not at the top, but kind of hanging around the top 25. Not a team you can lose to them. Anyone can lose to them, but they can also be.
So basically Oklahoma State for my entirety of college
Pretty
football
much, yeah.
fandom.
The thing for me about Michigan is I just don't think that they have enough talent to supplement starting a freshman at quarterback this year. I mean, Bryce Underwood, I think you're going to see spurts of him being a really good quarterback, and that might be for one singular game or however long it is, and that might be enough to pick up 8 wins on the season and get them to 8-4. But the 4 losses or the losses that are going to occur on the schedule, and the reason why they may not even be ranked, in my opinion, at the end of the year is because the rest of the roster, I just don't know if it's there for them to be.
I don't know if the rest of the roster is all that great. But guys, the schedule, again, we're going to talk a lot about schedule tonight with these top 25 teams preseason, but This is very doable. They have Oklahoma, Nebraska, USC, and Ohio State were the only games that I circled where I was like, we're going to throw a coin on those. Those might be toss-up games. The rest of them, I'm going into the season saying Michigan should beat that football team.
That's fair.
On paper. So we'll see. I'm with you, though. The freshman quarterback thing is very, very scary. It could be boom or bust, though. Like we've seen freshman quarterbacks walk in and athlete their way to some success.
Yeah.
I could see him doing that. I'm curious to see the defense looks like, though. We saw all the offensive losses after the national championship last year. All those national championship impactful defensive players left that roster last year. So I'm curious to see. Will Johnson, Mason Graham, the big time linebacker too, the big dude. I'm curious to see what that defense looks like now this year for those guys. Number 23 on our rankings coming in, Nebraska.
I like this one again. I think it's appropriate. Matt Rule has really, really hyped up the year three.
Year three Rule.
Yeah.
Huh?
Oh, wow. Nice.
Year three Rule.
But no, Dylan Raiola is going into his second year as a full-time starter. I think they added some more weapons to kind of give him some help at the wide receiver position. So they'll be a better team this year. I think they have a chance to maybe make a splash in the Big Ten. So I like this ranking.
We have a Dylan Raiola study on the way. And I think after having watched them in their bowl game and having watched them on tape and evaluated Dylan, I think the second most important offseason addition was my man Dane Key to this roster. The most important addition, in my opinion, is Nick Anderson to LSU. We'll talk about later. Just stylistically, I think it's a tremendous fit for those guys. But the biggest portal addition outside of Nick is Dane. They had nobody. We talked about it. We joked about it. They were an NAD offense last year. Not a dude. Did not have a single one. Now they at least have a dude in Dane Key. I think it was a massive addition for them.
Yeah, and I think that 20, like Kirby said, I think 23 is a good landing spot for Nebraska in this, because if they continue on the trend that they've been on over the last couple of years with Matt Rule, then you can just sweep them under the rug, act like it never happened, act like they were never ranked to begin with. But it's also in a position to say that this team could potentially be like, hey, 17th best team in the country.
Also, I'm going to be turning Nebraska on just to see if anybody can get something out of Williams-Winery.
Oh, yeah.
Because the high school tape's phenomenal. The high school tape's insane. Now, you tell me that he's a 6'7", 275-pound human, totally different than the player that I evaluated coming out of high school. So we have magically found 2 inches and about 40 pounds. And I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing. Sometimes we size ourselves out of the ability to bend and rush the passer. It is a concern, for me at least, based off just, again, what we're listed at. I haven't seen it. I don't know what it looks like because we got 4 games, and basically I'm going to redshirt myself last year at Missouri. Is that how we all interpreted that situation?
Very much.
I think we all kind of looked at that as appreciated you for my freshman year NIL. I'm going to see who else will pay me to go for my sophomore year, and I'm going to Nebraska because they will.
Yeah.
You look like you were Googling something over there.
I'm getting prepared.
I like that. You locking the F in? Let's lock in on number 22 on our list, the USC Trojans. Now, I got a sneaky suspicion that 22 is the lowest that they will be ranked on preseason lists from yappers like ourselves.
Oh, you think people are high on the Trojans?
I got a feeling USC is going to be top 15 on that AP.
For sure. It's the brand and it's the Lincoln Riley experience. I think we've seen enough times at Oklahoma and here to where it doesn't succeed unless you have great quarterback play, and not to disrespect Jordan Maeva.
Is USC sneaky a defensive-led team this year?
That's what that might be. Dude, that's kind of the vibes I get around it.
Right?
I feel
They spent a ton of money.
I feel more confident in the defensive unit than the offensive unit this year.
Which
That's
at that
nuts.
point, credit to Lincoln Riley for trying to make some adjustments in the Big Ten, because it seemed like he was just a offensive-led team that would just have to score 6
Brought
points.
Keyshawn Silver over from North Carolina, brought Ja Jarrett over from Georgia, brought in Jakeem Stewart, a 5-star defensive lineman, won that recruitment over LSU, the in-state school. They spent a lot of money on the defensive line. Now, they brought in 5 new defensive back transfers, so we'll see what that looks like. You guys know how I feel about bringing in brand new DBs. It's like, whoa, we might have a bunch of busted coverages the first several weeks because we're learning systems, we're learning how we trade things off, we're learning how we zone match, we're learning the system, and that could be troublesome. We talked a lot about this with Oregon last year. 5 brand new DBs. Aggies. It looks like Oregon's going to do the same thing again this year. So a lot of these teams with new faces in that back end, it causes questions and concerns around this program when we see that. I'm bullish on Jaden Maeva, though.
I don't know if I'm bullish. The way
tape is fun.
The way that I would describe USC is I think they're just a baseline good. Mm-hmm. I don't think they're anything above that. I don't think they're anything below that. But my question is where are the playmakers in this offense? Where are the dudes at in this offense?
Is it Jacoby Lane?
Yeah, Jacoby Lane.
That guy is an algorithm machine. All right, he's got my algo this offseason. One hand stickies, left and right. Yeah, he's a playmaker. So says my timeline.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, if the timeline is correct, then maybe that question gets answered. But I think that the offense just kind of a wait and see type of thing. But again, I think they're just baseline good.
I like that baseline good. Lincoln Riley being a defensive-led on-paper roster, though, is a little bit crazy.
Yeah, it's like Kirby Smart being an offensive guy.
Yeah, honestly, it would be like looking at a Georgia roster and be like, damn, how do they practice? I bet that offense whips the hell out of them.
Yeah.
I bet this defense gives this offense problems during practice.
Wouldn't doubt it at all.
That might be the best thing to happen to a Lincoln Riley team.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Honestly. All right, on to number 21, Louisville. Now, should we do this segment in pure whisper voice?
I would rather not.
I don't want to.
All right. The bid has ran its course.
Okay.
All right, the bid has ran its course.
I think the bid is so old at this point, people don't even know what it's from.
That's when the bid becomes great. When people don't know why we're doing it. That's when it's really in its sweet spot.
You think so?
Oh, I know so.
I think that's when it's at its worst.
No, when people are tuning in going, what the fuck are they doing? That's when it's its best.
Interesting. It's an interesting take.
This is probably a really intimate experience for our AirPod listeners.
Yeah, Louisville honestly is on this list because ACC and you've done it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? Very, very, I'm not going to say that this is going to be, this is the case, but when you turn your roster over like this over and over and over and over and over again, you're bound to have a bad selection of transfer prospects, right?
Definitely.
Every time I look at Louisville's roster in the offseason, I see half of a depth chart that just got there and half of a depth chart that just got there last year.
Yeah,
I do not see Louisville guys. I see a whole roster of this kind of worked or didn't work elsewhere, and now we're going to make it work here. Now, it 8-4 last year. It 9-3 the year before. Maybe this year it'll 8-4 again. But every once in a while, you're bound to hit the wrong selection of new faces. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
unless your scouting department is just way better than everybody else's.
I feel like Louisville is always the safest bet for 21st in any rankings. They're just they're going to finish there
throughout the year.
You can start them there, and you can count on them being in that range every single year. That's how I always
who they replaced?
Louisville.
They've looked at the NC State Wolfpack and they said, you know what? Mine. Mine.
We're third best.
My 8-4, my third or fourth best team annually in this conference.
But to your point though about all the additions, they hit on transfer portal additions, or at least they have in the past. Ja'Cory Brooks was this for them last year. I mean, he was a 1,000-yard receiver, former Alabama guy, and now they have Miller Moss. They have Dakari Collins, an NC State wide receiver. Yeah. Several additions on the defensive side of the ball. So if they hit on those like they have in years past,
and Dakari, I'm pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong here. I think he started his career at Alabama. Out of McEachern. Mm-hmm. Will you Google that for me and make sure my brain's not CTE braining me? But I think Dakari Collins is a McEachern kid that went to Alabama and then flamed out at NC State. Clemson. Okay. All right. So there's that. But anyways, man, Clemson lets you go and you're a 6'3", something they haven't had since. Yeah, okay. Enough on Louisville. We good on that one?
Mm-hmm.
All right, on to number 20. I think we're going a little fast. We've got Texas A&M. What are your thoughts on the Aggies this year?
It seems like Texas A&M has been hinged on what Marcel Reed can do at the quarterback position. And I feel like it's a lot deeper on the offensive side than just what Marcel Reed can do. We saw a Texas A&M offense last year that had Marcel Reed take over, and there were some really low points at times. I mean, the Texas game looked no further than that. That was just flat out ugly for them. So it seems like they need to become an even more balanced team this year under Mike Elko in year two. And you would expect that to take place for some, year two and year one mishaps to occur last year, but I think they'll be good this year. I'm not buying the top 10 win the SEC hype.
You know who one of my favorite linebackers to study is right about now? And I got to look his name up because it's a funky one. My man, Tareen York. Now, he's never going to get drafted top 60 eval. The Anthony Hill evaluation is way better. Hell, the CJ Allen evaluation is way better from a ceiling standpoint. But from a, do you move first? Do you know what you're doing? Have you been starting since you were a true freshman? Tareen York is this guy. Wears 21, plays Mike linebacker for those guys out there. And like I said, you know who he reminds me of? Rennie Curran. You Georgia fans will remember this guy, okay, because of how small he is. This is a 5'11", 220-pound Mike linebacker, and he's one of the best in the sport. When you watch Texas A&M defense this year, just focus on 21. Watch how much he is controlling their entire unit as a whole and making plays. Now, my actual point about A&M that I want to really hone in on, I don't know if enough people are talking about, you mentioned him, but I don't know if enough people are talking about the opportunity for growth for Marcel Reed. Not only are we in year 2 of being a starter and getting real playing time, we got experience last year, but we're really in the first year of the whole entire offense and the whole entire offseason and the whole entire program being geared for me. Last year, they were doing this hem-hawed, like, is it going to be Connor's show? Is it going to be Marcel's show? We got an offense for Connor. We got an offense for Marcel. Now you have an entire offense predicated off of number 10. And he gets to be far more comfortable. When we watched them last year, they were like very vanilla offensively because they were patchworking the offense most of the year. They were trying to figure out identities while the coach was flip-flopping the quarterback, and it's recipe for disaster. So this quarterback is going to be tremendously confident for the first time really in his college career.
Yeah, and I think that the growth opportunity, and then on top of that, like, he has a safety net with him standing there in the backfield and Le'Veon Moss. Like, having a reliable running back, I mean, one of the best running backs in the SEC coming into this year, that's always a plus as well. The defense typically is
driving related, not female related, right?
I can't remember, to be honest.
Because if it's female related, we got questions of whether or not Le'Veon's going to be ready. Will you Google this? I want to be cool.
Yes.
I'll Google it. You keep talking. Okay. I'm sorry.
Defensively, though, I mean, they've had some studs on that defense. So they've lost some this past offseason, but they've also taken some stabs as well, like Julian Humphrey coming over from Georgia. He's going to be playing snaps.
It's dismissed anyways. He's good.
That's what I thought.
Everything's good. Everything's dismissed. It was disorderly conduct. Sounds like we were just a little bit too rambunctious late at night.
Yeah.
Nothing to worry about.
But I think that kind of transitions into a question about the wide receiver room, because what we noticed on tape watching them last year is that Noah Thomas was that safety blanket for him last year. As vanilla as the offense was, Noah Thomas was that guy that, hey, I can find him at any point in time and I can throw the ball to him with confidence. He's no longer on the roster, but I like the upside of Marcel Reed this year.
I like the idea that Concepcion's actually going to have a quarterback.
Yeah. Oh my God, I forgot he was on that roster.
But everyone does.
Yeah.
Everyone also forgets the fact that going into last year, most people looked at Concepcion as one of the best wide receivers in the sport.
Oh yeah.
And we had to go watch him catch balls from Grayson McCall, and it didn't go so well. And now everybody's out on him. Bro, nobody's going to fit better in an RPO system than a slot receiver that wins every time.
Yeah.
Like, that guy's going to get tons of balls, tons of opportunities to get a lot of reps or a lot of stats this year out there at A&M. So off of what you're talking about, they're going to be a run-based offense. I think they returned 4 or 5 offensive linemen from a year ago as well. I think everybody but the center. A&M fans will correct me if I'm wrong there, but a lot of returning starters there. However, they do lose a lot defensive line-wise.
Yeah.
The transfer from Purdue, obviously the first-round pick, and Shamar Stewart, so there's a lot there. But the other Stewart's still back, right?
Yes,
number 5, the big defensive tackle. I think he's or the other Shamar James. I think he's still on the roster out there. Is that correct, or did he get drafted?
You might be thinking of Scooby Williams.
No, Scooby Williams is a transfer, by the way.
Well, he was transferred last year.
Yeah. Wow. So he's been at A&M twice or 2 years now after leaving Florida?
Yeah.
Interesting. Love Scooby out of high school.
Neither Shamar is there.
Okay, so both of the Shamars are gone. Damn. So James must have been like a 3rd or 4th round draft pick. Anyways, all right, moving on. Number 19, Tennessee. Now, I have been on the record saying, like, even with Nico on this roster, I think I would have ranked them somewhere in this vicinity. I thought they were going to scratch and claw their way to a 9 or 10 win season off rip because of the lack of explosivity at the weaponry department offensively, and I didn't expect Nico to take some magical leap year 2 in this system. There were so many fundamental issues with the way he played the quarterback position. I think they're going to rear their ugly head at UCLA way more than they did at Tennessee because the system's pretty damn quarterback friendly in Knoxville, and he still couldn't operate it the right way fundamentally from the lower half down. So I thought they were going to be a relatively slightly above average team that relied on run game and defense anyways. They're going to rely on run game and defense this year anyways. Mm-hmm. So I didn't change my opinions much on Tennessee this offseason with what had happened.
I think, the fact that Nico transferred out didn't change my opinions much. The reality of it was that Tennessee was going to have to replace Dylan Sampson in the running game, which we all believe was going to be a main pinpoint of the Tennessee offense, and you're losing James Pierce, who is a dynamic pass rusher. I don't think they have a guy on Tennessee that's replacing either of those guys this year. Joey Aguilar could be a better quarterback than Nico Eamon.
I'm going to pump your brakes. Because Anthony Joseph's rotated with James Pierce the last 2 years, was taking playing time from him and was doing good tape with it. So Anthony Joseph's a good football player. I'm with you on the other one, the replacement of the other. Sorry, continue.
Sampson? No, still.
No, the replacing. There will be no replacing of Dylan Sampson.
No.
I'm a believer in Peyton Bishop. Peyton Lewis and Deshaun Bishop. I'm a believer in both. They ain't Dylan Sampson.
You're also thinking of Joshua Josephs, by the way.
Joshua Josephs, my bad.
But that's
number 19.
That defense should still be very good. Jermod McCoy's going to be coming back off an ACL injury. They're still going to be one of the better defenses in the SEC. I just don't think the offense is going to be able to keep up with it, much like last year.
Yeah.
When Jermod McCoy gets back, there's some questions in that secondary right now. There's a whole bunch of stuff circulating about what could potentially happen there for them. But
are you Boo Carter in right there?
Yeah, I don't want to come out and.
That's a weird thing.
I didn't want to. That's why I didn't want to.
Very weird thing.
Open it up really because
for it to happen twice.
Well, apparently he's changed the representation.
Yeah.
So
I think Ricky Gibson is a really solid returning starter for them in that secondary. So maybe he can help supplement.
That guy's been playing since his true freshman year.
So he's got a lot of experience with him. But I think that Tennessee, for me, the way I feel about them is I think that they could be bumped out of the top 25 really quickly. And I also could just see them hanging around right here at 19 all year long. They just flutter around that range. They don't really move up or down too much. They're just kind of a solid, they're the 19th best team in the country. That's kind of how I view them this year. I just think that they're, again, kind of like USC. I think they're a baseline good, but I don't see them being great this year. But I also don't see them being poor or anything like that, a really bad football team.
They're not going 0-8 in conference play like they did with Jones. That will not be happening. But it'll be an interesting season for them, I think.
Sorry. Have you seen the photos of David Sanders?
I heard you talking about it.
Bro, my man put on every bit of the poundage that I was looking for him. My only question about whether or not he was going to be a certified guaranteed first-round pick was he was 275 in high school and came from NFL pedigree. So it wasn't no access to food. Why aren't you putting on the weight? I guess they just kept it off of him, but that dude is every bit of 310 pounds now. Jeez. He's going to start at right tackle for them for sure. Now, I did want to put you guys on game right quick because we were talking about the cornerback position. They signed a corner out of Milton High School, Ty Redmond. Folks up at Tennessee are telling me this is going to be a one. They think this is going to be one of the guys that they kind of nabbed out of the state of Georgia. And that was the thing that I noticed about Tennessee going up there and listening to their roster get announced pregame. Half their rosters from North Georgia. Half their rosters from the state of Georgia. They recruit this place really, really well.
It's the radius. It's the radius.
Yeah, it's the 5-hour radius. It's the fact that Georgia can't take them all, so come in here and get what's left, essentially. I'm excited to see what the defense ultimately looks like for them. They had a lot of interior defensive linemen to replace them. On to our next team, number 18, K-State. This is an Avery Johnson play, isn't it? This is an Avery Johnson
his
play.
9th season of college football.
It's really not.
It feels like it.
It feels like that because he was a heavily talked about true freshman getting playing time in mop-up duty behind Will Howard and had some fancy runs, so much so that he pushed Will Howard out of Manhattan, Kansas.
I think this is my favorite dark horse this year.
Oh, yeah?
I
this
feel,
is your 2025 Arizona State?
Yeah, I really like Kansas State's odds of and I'm not making a run at a national title, but like being the playoff representative out of the Big 12 and being a team that I think is better than what people are expecting because they return the quarterback. I think Avery Johnson is one of the better quarterbacks for sure in that conference, maybe even the best quarterback in that conference. Super veteran team. I mean, both sides of the football. They got a lot of experience on both offense and defense to surround him. And on top of that, we were talking about BYU's schedule earlier. Kansas State takes the cake in this conference as like schedule. There's one ranked team on the schedule right now, and it's Texas Tech. Like that's the only one right now that people are saying like maybe you could circle that. Other than that, I think the schedule is there. I think they have the roster. I think they have the quarterback. I think they have the coach to do it. They're my dark horse right now.
I think everyone was a year premature on the Avery Johnson love. I felt like he got way too much hype last offseason for a first-year starter.
Well, I think the narrative was like, oh, he ran Will Howard out of town.
So he must be goated.
Yeah, he's going to be great for us. Yeah.
Should be interesting. All right, we're on to number 17, Miami. Now, I went and re-looked at the roster today. I'm actually really bullish on their line of scrimmage, particularly their box play on the defensive side of the football. They return basically everybody. I also think if I told you I have Francis Muaga and Ruben Bain as a pair of offensive line, defensive line players, who's got a better pair in college football?
It's a great question.
You know what I'm saying? Like they very much so have a Dylan Stewart, Lenore Sellers type of thing going on at impact positions. Now, one of those isn't the quarterback. One of them's a tackle, and he plays right tackle, not left tackle, which football lore will tell you the left tackle is more illustrious of a position. However, it's a real legit right tackle prospect. Now, I see what the chat's saying. What has Ruben Bain actually done? Now, I could have had y'all in my chat doing the same thing about Shamar Stewart last year, and these two know how much of a fan of Shamar Stewart I was because you watch the film on them. They're disruptive human beings. They require a lot of attention. Ruben Bain is going to require a lot of attention this year from opposing offensive linemen. Therefore, he's an impactful defensive lineman by nature, not by box score. Okay, so I am bullish on their line of scrimmage play. You guys have heard my concerns about their weaponry. I just don't know what they have at wide receiver. 2 new transfers in at both X and Z, really reliant on Josiah Trader, really reliant on young wide receivers outside of that. So I'm very curious how they're going to create offense.
The unpredictability about this team is what scares me.
And that too, the Mario Cristobal aspect of this is really concerning.
And that's what I was about to kind of circle or hone in on right here is like Mario Cristobal has some unpredictability to him. Carson Beck, it's really a conversation of is he going to be the 2023 version or is it going to be the 2024 or is he going to like find the happy medium between those two or like the wide receiver room, what is that going to like? The unpredictability is what makes me take a step back on them and say I really don't want to mess with this at all.
This team has one of the highest ceilings and lowest floors in the top 25 because at
we're
their
gonna
best
know early too.
At their best they can beat Clemson, they can win the ACC, they can make a run in the college football playoff if all these components live up to the hype, but also there's a lot of potential to come crashing down and burning. Like if Carson Beck is not as healthy, if the wide receiver weapons aren't nearly as good as we thought they would be, if the defense has too many holes, like there's a lot of question marks around this team that if it's good, it's going to be great, and if it's not, it could be very, very bad.
Another football team with basically an entirely new secondary.
Yeah.
It's a very common theme in college football. Number 16 on our preseason top 25, the Oklahoma Sooners. Personally, I love the defense and the defensive coordinator. Always will, as long as Brent Brett is coaching football. I'm going to enjoy that one. By the way, I think per capita and per roster, they probably lead college football in Nigerian edge rushers. Just a random stat. So would love that about them. Love their quarterback and coordinator combination. We've talked about that a lot this offseason. Bringing my man Ben Arbuckle and John Mateer over from Washington State. I don't think it works with one or the other. I think it has a real solid chance to work with both of them. I really like the running back group. All right, but here's the deal. None of those positions are the reason, in my opinion, why Oklahoma struggled last year. I thought Oklahoma struggled in this conference last year because they didn't have a competent offensive line and they didn't have competent weaponry. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't see them do a lot this year. They took stabs at it. They took a couple of wide receiver transfers. They got a new right tackle in there. All right, so they tried to get a couple of pieces. But if you were going to be out here spending a ton of money, yeah, you probably needed a quarterback. But instead of maybe going and signing Jaden Knott and basically tampering with a guy that committed to you before you even hit the portal, y'all remember that one? Mm-hmm. Committed to you before you even hit the portal. Maybe go out and buy another wide receiver. Maybe go out and buy another offensive lineman, because it just didn't look like this conference caliber at those positions last year for me.
Yeah, and I agree. And I think it's safe to say that the offense is going to be the worst part of Oklahoma this year, and it will probably be that way under Brett Venables. But from what it was last year to with Michael Hawkins and Jackson Arnold, the inconsistencies at quarterback play, the fact that you pretty much couldn't field a wide receiver room at times in games because everyone was injured, you have to assume that, one, Oklahoma's defense is going to be as consistent as it has been with Brett at the helm, and the offense is going to take a massive step forward, in my opinion. You've added John Mateer. Yes, the weapons you've got haven't been great otherworldly names that are going to make immediate impacts, but Jaden Knott's a good running back. The offense is going to be a lot better this year, and I think that's going to supplement them.
I think the best way to describe Oklahoma, in my opinion, is I think they're going to be improved this year, but I don't think they're going to be like hunting for the playoff by season's end. But they are going to be the team, like, once you get into the November month or even like mid-October, they're going to be the team that you don't want to see on the schedule, in my opinion. Like that's the team that's like, they got a really good defense. They got a quarterback that can do a little bit of everything. They have a really strong run game. Like, that's the team you don't want to run into.
Brother, you hop on a roster and see Adebawore, Okoye, Omasiko, my man Nukombe. They lead the league in Nigerian bloodlines on that roster. And you can see, I'm telling you, on tape you can see it. They're long, they're twitchy, they're athletic on the defensive side of the football. I love what they do defensively. I just got all kinds of questions about the offense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. It's fair.
Now, the difference between last year and this year is they're going to be able to 12 carries Mateer their way into scoring position. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to be able to do that this year at Oklahoma. Number 15 on the list, SMU. Now, this was a roster that I looked at again today and realized, apart from the hybrid wide receiver running back, the number one guy, apart from him, offensively, they didn't lose a ton. They're basically the same football team coming back this year. Now, the major concern for me with SMU, they are like 2 injuries away from basically starting all freshmen at wide receiver.
Yeah, they're young.
They're very young in that 2 deep. Just not a very deep football team right about now.
I sense a drop off for SMU this year. I really do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Not with all that mess Rhett Lashley's talking. He got a good football team coming his way. Got to. Mm-hmm. Hey, I got a game for y'all. It's probably going to spoil it. Anybody know where Tyler Van Dyke is currently on a roster? Got to be year 26 for Tyler Van Dyke in college football. Any guesses on whose roster he's on?
That screams G5.
You would think, right?
Is it another ACC team?
Like maybe hanging out at like Coastal,
yeah,
or like might be chilling out at like I don't know,
like
East
a Western
Carolina.
Kentucky.
Yeah, like a Western Kentucky.
What about like a Purdue or something?
Oh, that's a great guess. Like a Purdue, maybe. No, he's backing up Kevin Jennings down there in oil country.
Which honestly,
not a bad play.
That's the perfect college football backup.
What do you think he's making to be the backup at SMU? It's probably the last dollars he'll make playing organized football, which is okay.
Like, I don't know, like $250.
I was thinking a couple hundred racks.
6 figures for sure.
Yeah, room and board taken care of.
All I know is
I was just taken aback by the fact that Tyler Van Dyke's still on a roster.
All I know is it's a good thing that this is a Methodist university, because you're going to need a lot of prayer that Kevin Jennings is not getting hurt.
Wasn't Tyler Van Dyke at another school prior to Miami?
Yeah, he was.
It was Miami, Wisconsin, now SMU.
Yeah.
But where was it prior to Miami? Are we a 4-schooler?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I thought he started at Miami.
Okay. 3-schooler. All right, so says AI. So started at Miami.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe just got playing time so early. That's why we think he's a dinosaur.
Yeah.
And kind of looks like he's 35. You know?
For sure.
The beard definitely adds age.
Oh, he grew a beard now.
It's like stubble.
Okay.
Not like a beard, but.
Interesting. On to number 14 on our list, the Florida Gators, who, they're talking about volatile. What the hell is going on with the quarterback? How did we get hurt?
Dude, I don't know.
What did we do? I thought they wrapped this kid in bubble wrap since the season ended.
They need to.
For those of you who don't know, they're listening today, like, what the hell are they talking about? DJ Lagway has been spotted in a boot. Random, supposed to be minor lower leg.
Sounds
lower
like to me it's like precautionary more than anything.
Sounds like Buddy rolled his ankle playing pickup
And they're
hoops.
like,
Is what
put a
it
boot
sounds
on
like
it.
to me.
Let's not think about it twice. Things like that. I will say that I know that this is our consensus top 25. This is too high for me. Florida at 14 is too high for me.
I agree.
I would prefer them to be at the 19, 20 range right now. I think 14 is just a little too rich for me because I am really high on DJ Lagway. And
How'd they get here? Because I ranked them like 12th or 13th.
That's probably why.
You guys had them like 15, 16, 19? Interesting.
But anyways, I like their line of scrimmage. I like that. I like DJ Lagway, but I have questions about the secondary. I have some questions about the wide receiver unit. Although there's some projection there. I think that you can easily find ways to say yes, Florida's wide receiver room is going to be good. And DJ Lagway being a big reason why. I like the running backs, but defense is one of the biggest questions for me this year for them. Linebacker all the way back to safeties. I just don't know. I don't know if they have difference makers on that unit this year.
I don't like Florida because of the exact reason that we started this topic with. Is DJ Lagway going to give you 12 games this season?
Yeah.
Because it's not like you can go, oh, hey, if Quinn Ewers gets hurt, we have Arch Manning on the bench. Like, there's not a lot behind you that you would say, hey.
Oh, come on, man. I'm a big-time Harrison Bailey guy. You ain't watching the UNLV tape that don't exist?
Bro, Harrison Bailey was in high school when I was in high school.
I know, and Harrison Bailey, I think, has started officially 0 college football games.
Has it been that? Has it been?
No,
0?
he started at Tennessee for a game or two, didn't he?
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Because the fan base cooked him.
The Garantano era.
Yeah, no, he got a couple starts up there. I'm sorry, my bad, Harrison Bailey. That's on me.
I was like,
hey, but
0.
savvy vet, vet,
I mean,
not a bad option.
That's
savvy vet with limited playing time.
That's not a ceiling of Arch Manning as your backup.
No,
like Florida is cooked if DJ Lagway gets injured, which there's been.
And it sounds like DJ Lagway is going to get injured.
Yeah, there's been 2 major speculatory injuries already. Like there was reports that he wasn't throwing in spring, so I'm selling Florida simply because of that.
I love the run game potential. I'm bullish on the weaponry. I think the Sturdivant kid coming over from UCLA is legit. Sounds like Dallas Wilson's going to be legit. We know Eugene Wilson is legit. So when you have 3 legitimate wide receiver options, I'm bullish on your unit. Don't know much about the tight end position. I'm sure they got a guy. The offensive line group has been relatively good the last several years in the run game. They have momentary lapses in the passing department that just makes me scratch my head. As does the overall offensive structure. How they throw the football makes me scratch my head. But I know they're going to run the ball.
And the thing with Napier too, it's still a thing.
The whole I'm calling plays.
I'm a head coach and I'm calling plays as well. We've seen it rear its ugly head multiple times since he was the head coach at Florida. That's continuing into this year. So there's just some red flags that make me say 14's too high for me.
So you guys balked on the way too high for Florida, way too high for Illinois. Just seems that way. 13.
Here's my thing with Illinois.
It just doesn't feel right. Preseason Illinois top 15 doesn't feel right.
I get it. It does feel weird. I don't think Illinois is going to get higher than 10 this year. I don't think they're going to get lower than 20. I think they kind of hover in that spot the entire.
It's a 2-game schedule, isn't it? It's USC and Ohio State.
I mean, that's essentially what every Big Ten schedule is.
Isn't that crazy? Hey, but they play 9 of them, so
I don't want to be that guy.
They play 9 of them, Kirby. They played 9 conference games.
Like every single Big Ten schedule we've looked at has been, it's you have to beat one of 3: Penn State, Ohio State, or Oregon, and then there's another really tough team.
Illinois is going to be favored by almost a touchdown in 9 of their games this year.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and predict out how it's going to go for them. They are going to be 47th in points per game this year. They're going to average a smooth 27 points per game, something like that. But they're also going to be 11th in points allowed, I feel like. I think that's what Illinois is going to be this year.
Classic
Nothing flashy about them. Nothing that's going to make you say, oh, Illinois is playing. I got to watch that on Saturday. I have to. 3:30 slot, clear out. Illinois is coming.
But you know what? Honestly, though, if we trade Illinois for what Iowa has been doing the last 15 years,
I was going to say this instead of doing that, because these all sound like, God forbid there's an Illinois fan listening to this. These all sound like backhanded compliments. Here's a real compliment that I can say about Illinois that I can't say about other football teams. I know for a fact going into this year, they know who their leader is and they have an identity as a football team. They know they know their recipe to winning football games. And I don't know how many football teams in the top 20 we can even say that about.
Not a ton.
You know,
fewer than ever.
So there's that. They know what their success path looks like. They know how to get it done, and they have a passable schedule.
And that's why I like them this year. That's why I like them as like the third or fourth option in the Big Ten this year. That's why I have them this high up on my rankings, because I think that they'll be consistently that.
2025 Indiana.
Yeah.
Right there. Number 12 on our preseason top 25, Ole Miss. I'm really excited to see Austin Simmons.
That hype train is slowly gaining momentum.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, there was a point in the offseason where we were like, does Austin Simmons suck because of how many quarterbacks are taking in the transfer portal?
Here's the big problem, and it's not even a concern, it's a problem. They have a brand new defense.
Yeah.
7 of 11 brand new players.
Brand new defense.
I'm not talking about the 2 deep guys. I'm talking about 7 of 11 starters on defense just got there.
It's Centurion Perkins, and then here's a bunch of new guys.
Hi, I'm Centurion. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, literally.
That's how that defensive offseason's gone.
The defensive leap that they took last year was like you're standing on the ground and you jump to the top of a skyscraper. And
you do it with 3 NFL rushers.
But you could
only one of them's back,
and you could very easily free fall from that this year, in my opinion. I think it could derail that fast for them, because I don't know if that is the new standard for Ole Miss, but I don't see that many NFL defensive players on their roster right now. Like the front 7 that they had last year was the best they've had maybe ever at that program. I mean, it was so
not maybe, I would say it was.
Yeah, so I just don't know if they're going to have that, and that was the true difference maker for them. Like you go to the Georgia matchup. I know people want to talk about what they did offensively, but it was the defensive line that completely wrecked Georgia all game, and that's what got them in that position to begin with. So it's just a huge question I have for them.
I mean, I got to be completely honest. I know you're not supposed to do this when making rankings. There's a little bit of logo bias there, because Lane Kiffin has had that team consistently at 8-4, 9-3, sometimes 10-2.
Yeah.
So I believe in what he's doing, and that's why I've got them. Like, I think I had him at 12, so that felt appropriate.
And I think next year they're going to make a push. You watch. This offseason, Ole Miss will be buying players again because of what their quarterback's supposed to be. Number 11 on our list, Arizona State. Big Sam Leavitt, year 2 play here for me. And Jordan Tyson, the wide receiver, I think has an opportunity. It's a really, really light wide receiver class in the NFL draft. If you're an NFL draft guru, I'm going to tell you right now, coming up next year, this time, or whenever draft season starts rolling around, you're going to hear every analyst talk about how thin the wide receiver unit is. It might be the worst ever in the history of the draft, yada, yada, yada. There's just not a lot of dudes. This is one of them. 6'4", 200 pounds, whipped for 1,200 yards last year. Braden Tyson's a guy.
Yeah.
This is
Jordan Tyson, excuse me.
This is the classic example of, if there's a team that I had to take out of the Big 12 that has the most momentum, that I would feel the best about, it's Arizona State. They proved it last year. They showed a lot of continuity. Sam Leavitt really took a step forward. I know that Scatabo was the star of the show last year, rightfully so. Sam Leavitt flashed in those last 3 games of the season. I think he could take a really big step forward. And like you said, Jordan Tyson's one of the better X's in the game. Was
Leavitt a redshirt freshman last year?
I don't believe so.
I thought he was a redshirt freshman.
He is a redshirt freshman, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Or was.
So he was a really young football player last year. Also, wasn't the starter going into the season, was he? Didn't he win that job midway through, like week 2?
That's a great question. Like I'm not going to lie. I was not tapped into Arizona State football the first 2 weeks.
Well, you know who was.
You were.
Your boy.
Because you thought.
Your boy was locked the F into I'm going to take you into an alley football team.
You were so tapped in that you thought the running back was Amish.
He started his career at Michigan State.
He is Amish. So I don't know what you're talking about.
He was the starter the entire season.
Okay. So NCAA is out here falsifying rosters.
Oh, yeah?
Checks out. The game sucks. A lot of continuity on defense for this football team. Did y'all notice that when you were doing the research?
Yes, I did.
Basically return everybody.
Very akin to what I saw with Kansas State of again, like older guys on both sides of the ball returning a good number of starters. They have a really good quarterback. They have weapons that surround him. So I think that Arizona State is, I don't want to say a shoo-in to be the best Big 12 team this year, because I do like Kansas State, but they feel like the team that if you want to pick consistency and you go with that, that's the safest bet.
Best coach in the conference too.
Feels
we
like
all agree.
We think so, yeah.
Yeah. Whittingham, close second, about to be out the door.
Yeah.
And then full firm, Kenny Dillingham, best coach in the conference.
I'm cool with it.
I am too.
Hard to argue.
Hard to argue. Number 10, South Carolina. Y'all already know my thoughts on Sellers. We know what they have in Dylan Stewart. I am betting, if you're betting on South Carolina this year, you are betting on their superstars. You are betting that their superstars are just that much better than everybody else. That Dylan Stewart can win football games for them defensively, and that Lenore Sellers can win football games for them defensively. By the way, or offensively, I think they both can because of the playmaking nature of both of them.
Yes.
They play positions that can wreck the game, that can win the game.
South Carolina could very easily be the biggest riser this season. They could also be the biggest collapse, in my opinion. Collapse in the sense of they're getting so much attention this preseason. They're getting a lot of positive attention, I should say, because people are really high on Sellers and the weapons that they have on their offense. They're projecting them to be really good, guys like Nick Harbor and the running back room. But offensive line has always been a problem for them. Defensive line, really, like interior-wise, don't know what that's going to look like. I don't think they're not going to have the difference makers that they did last year. Like Tonka Hemingway and TJ Sanders are really good football players for them. We'll see what Jalen Kilgore can do in the secondary and see what, like, if he can be that type of guy that Nicky Manwari was. Not that he'll be that, but again, a guy that, because Nicky Manwari turned the ball over so much for South Carolina last year. And that was the difference maker for them too last year. As great as Lenoris was last year, it was their defense creating turnovers consistently, getting them the ball back immediately.
They're only in that game because they against Alabama because they turned Milroe over late in the fourth quarter.
So I just don't know if they'll have that to lean on this year. And then again, the offensive line, Sellers can only do so much, and he can do a lot. He can do a lot with his legs, but
been a very hit on talking point. I don't think South Carolina, and I could get this could come back to bite me. I think South Carolina has made tremendous strides over the last 18 months at the offensive line position. Signing Josiah Thompson was massive for them. Not only is he like good, a big time prospect, he was great. Like, he walked in immediately, was really, really good.
Yeah, he was never the problem.
Kaysen Henry at right tackle, in my opinion, playable. I don't watch South Carolina football anymore and go, good God, they're horrible up front. Like, this is, when I watched Spencer Rattler play behind that offensive line, I thought it was borderline malpractice to let a quarterback play back there.
That UNC game.
The UNC game was worse. The whole season was bad. Like, it was bad to watch. I didn't feel that way about them last year. Now, that could be because they had a magician at the position. That he just, you got beat clean, don't worry about it. Peter Woods ain't got a chance in hell of touching it.
And I think he is that good to where it makes you feel like that the offensive line is better than it was. But I do agree with you, though. They are making positive strides. I mean, they got Damola Ajidehu in last class as well, swiped him away. So they're Adijahun. Damola Adijahun. They got him last class. So I think they're doing the right things there. But speaking for this year, I'm just going to continue to have questions about it.
Number 9, Notre Dame. Now, they didn't just lose great players. I've talked about this. I felt like Notre Dame lost great leaders last year. I thought Riley Leonard was kind of the face of that offense towards the end of the year, and really, like, not the face of the program, but felt like a massive cultural leader for that football team last year. Xavier Watts has been this for that defense for a long time, as has Jack Keisner, as has Riley Mills, as has Howard Cross. All those football players are gone. Now, here's the thing that I relearned today when I went and looked at this, okay? Not only has Notre Dame basically averaged a top 10 recruiting class since Marcus Freeman has been there, but they lost all those players from last year's football team, and their roster isn't lit up with orange names on our lads, boys. Their roster isn't lit up with transfers. Their roster is lit up with, don't worry, we're sliding. We lost a great player, 3-year starter for us. Don't worry, we're sliding him in with a junior who's been sitting on the bench for us and developing with us in-house. And is a blue chip guy, right? That's what it means. When you recruit at a top 10 level and then you lose a bunch of football players and you don't have to go to the transfer portal to replace them, you're replacing great players with great prospects that you recruited and developed in-house. That's a good recipe for continued success, not massive drop-off and fall off the cliff. I was really impressed with the retention of the roster that they've maintained.
This feels like 2019 Georgia reincarnated.
This feels like SEC roster.
That's what I'm saying.
This feels like Big Ten, like top 3 roster is what this feels like.
2019 Georgia in the sense of they're going to beat you because they're really good at the line of scrimmage and they're really sound. And I think they have a good run game. Georgia had a good run game that year. But the weapons and and not making direct comparisons like saying that Carr is going to be Jake Fromm or anything like that, but just like there's no wow factor to that offense outside of Jeremiah Love, and I think that could cause them some trouble. And then I do have like replacing a guy like Xavier Watts. Like, what is that going to look like? How are they going to fare there?
Like, they went into the portal and bought an receiver in Malachi Fields. I think that's the kid from Virginia.
I believe so.
I believe so. And then Devontae Smith's on this roster. I don't know how Alabama fans feel about Devontae Smith, and this might be a good gauge for what happened there or what. How in the hell is he on Notre Dame's roster? Because when I watched Devontae Smith the last several years at Alabama, I thought really, really damn good player. Probably a nickel defensive back that's going to play on Sundays is what I thought of him. And I'm sure he's going to do really, really well at Notre Dame. I was shocked to see him on that roster. That's a massive addition, in my opinion. Again, don't know how Alabama fans feel about him. Maybe they think that their defensive back core is so loaded that he was not going to get playing time, having come back for another year of college football. I don't know.
I think that the most important thing for Notre Dame this year is going to be, does the talent that you lost last season not diminish enough to the point where your execution and the way you play can take up for it? Because we saw in that playoff, Notre Dame beat teams, and Notre Dame basically beat the better teams that they played throughout the schedule because they had more discipline, they had a better plan, and they executed a lot better. I don't know if you're going to consistently get that from them this year simply because of what they're overturning in the experience category, but I think it's very understanding as to why people are high on them. I think 9's very appropriate.
All right, number 8, LSU. Now, we are a football program that I think is pretty good at identifying problem areas.
Yes.
Pretty good at looking at a roster and being like, wait a minute, you're not at your standard at these positions. I felt like the last couple years I've watched LSU football, they have not been the standard at X receiver. I know Kyron Lacey was relatively decent last year, but that's not LSU standard at X receiver. I don't feel like they've been the LSU standard at defensive line. I didn't feel like that. I didn't feel like they had any speed or difference makers in the defensive backfield at LSU. Not at the LSU standard. Those were the areas of concerns with their roster last year and really the last 2 years under Brian Kelly. What did they do this offseason? They went out and they got Nick Anderson from Oklahoma. So boom, we bring in an X, a verified X. When that dude was healthy, Nick Anderson was one of the best, balls in the air, my ball, wide receivers that there is available in college football. We talked about the defensive line problems. They had massive issues stopping the run. Go watch that Alabama football game from last year. They got their nose and face caved in because they had nobody up front. What did they do? They went and got Jack Pyburn from Florida, a SEC starter, multiple years over. Don't really care what Florida fans think about him. That's an SEC quality starter that's now on LSU's roster. All right, not only that, they went and got Patrick Payton. I know what I saw from Patrick Payton last year. I know, but hey, high ceiling football player, much better than what they had available on their roster currently. Okay, they not only just those two guys, they went out and signed 3 or 4 defensive tackles out of the portal as well. They threw bodies at problem areas. I mentioned the defensive backs, guys. They brought in 5 defensive back transfers and signed a 5-star at corner in DJ Pickett. So I don't know if they solved all the problems, but they sure as hell identified everything that we said they have a problem with and went and tried to throw answers at the problem. So I think you have to give them credit for what they did this offseason to their roster.
I think it's funny how at the start of the offseason, my concern for LSU going into this year was what was quarterback play going to look like for Garrett Nussmeier, just because of my experience watching him. It was very up and down, and the lows were very low, but the highs were very high. Now I feel a lot more confident in him. It is like the other parts and pieces on this where it's like LSU's run game has just not been there at all over the last 4 years, I would say, maybe even more than that. So I think that they need to get that going as well, on top of solving some of the defensive issues that they've had. Yeah,
you're buying the hype of Garrett Nussmeier and the expectation that he is going to take that final step into becoming the best version of himself. Like we said, they tried to fill a lot of holes on defense. Whether they are actually filled is to be determined, but I think that they're going to be a very good team this year.
I just looked it up. Guesses on the last time LSU had a 1,000-yard rusher?
I'm sure it was Clyde Edwards-Helaire in 2020.
Yeah.
2019.
Yeah, that's 2019.
It was. They haven't had a 1,000-yard rusher since there, which, to be fair, I don't think Georgia has either.
Nope.
DeAndre Swift, 19. So it's been a while. I guess it's just hard to run the ball in this conference.
They've also had some injuries in their running back room.
LSU has.
Yeah, John Emery
tremendously.
got hurt last year, so early into the season too. Like
Before the season started, I'm pretty sure, I thought.
Number 7 on our board, preseason top 25, Alabama. The more and more I study the roster, I really like it. I'm bullish on what Alabama returns, especially defensively. They basically return everybody but Devontae Smith and Malachi Moore. Everybody. Oh, and Jahad Campbell. But they have 2 guys at linebacker that have been playing for decades, it feels like.
Yeah,
and
Alabama's
Deontay Lawson and the other guy's been playing forever as well. Huh?
Quay Rousseau?
No. He's an edge rusher. They have another linebacker that's been playing forever. Go ahead.
But no, Alabama's defense is getting wildly overlooked this year simply because of Ryan Grubb's back. Who's going to be quarterback? Is it, Simpson or whoever? I think that
Justin Jefferson.
What is it with the wide receiver names and
Justin Jefferson, who wears number 10 for them, has been playing at Alabama forever, it feels like.
But I mean, Alabama's defense is going to be one of the better parts of this team this year, and that's terrifying because everyone expects the offense to take a step forward.
Yeah.
The Jalen Milroe experience had some really high highs, but there were some really, really low lows. With Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer coming back together, Ty Simpson's most likely going to be the quarterback there. I think Alabama's going to be one of these teams that takes a massive step forward, which is so weird to have them in the top 10 because of after, the really gross 9-4 season.
Everyone, I saw somebody ask, is Texas A&M the best offensive line on paper in the conference?
I don't know.
I think it might be Alabama on paper preseason, because they returned 3 high-quality starters, in Proctor and in Brailsford and in Jaden Roberts, and they stole a starter from A&M and Cam Dewberry. Now, maybe Dewberry was a spot player, but Cam Dewberry's played 36 games in this conference, and now he's going to start for Alabama. So they got guys. Now, we're going to find out about the Wilkin Formsby kid, but apparently, my man DeBoer has spoken highly of him out there at Alabama. So I'm curious. The only question I have about them is, are they going to consistently run the football?
That will be an issue. That room is very thin, especially with Justice Haynes.
They couldn't manufacture a traditional run game last year with the running back. Everything in that run game was dependent upon Jalen Milroe's legs. Now, that might have been by nature. They might have been featuring that because it was his best trait. We'll find out this year. Number 6 is Oregon. Now, my note right here, and you tell me if you agree with this. This is the most question-filled roster Dan Lanning's had at Oregon since year 1.
Yes.
Very fair to say that, yes.
I mean, there's questions all over this roster.
Particularly on the offensive side of the ball.
Quarterback, running back, who's going to be your wide receiver? I know you got an athlete at tight end, but what's after that? All right, but there are a ton of questions about this Oregon roster.
I look at Oregon and Oklahoma on kind of similar levels here, with Oregon being a little more talented, to where we expect the defense to be good. You've shown enough that you're a defensive-minded coach that can field a very, very good defense, depending no matter who you put out there. It's the offense that needs to take the step forward. They've had good offenses under Bo Nix. Obviously, Dylan Gabriel was a very good quarterback for them this year. I'm very curious to see if they can get the same level of quarterback play this season.
Yeah, I mean, the quarterback play has really kind of elevated them and kept them in position of contention over the years. So Dante Moore, that's certainly a question for them. But yeah, I'm with you, Brooks, on there's just too many pieces on this schedule or roster to where I do have some concerns, but they have earned the right to be considered one of the best teams in the country.
Also, this is going to be a college football playoff team.
Yeah, the schedule alone.
The schedule is so easy. It's Ohio State and then nobody.
Penn State
and then nobody.
And Happy Valley.
Excuse me. Penn State in Happy Valley and then nothing. Absolutely nothing. I think the hardest game outside of that is maybe Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Do they have USC in there?
Do they play USC this year? Will you look up Oregon's schedule? I thought it was one preseason top 25 opponent and then nothing.
I think there was
from what I looked at.
But
either way, I mean, they'll be favored by 6 points over USC.
Oregon is one of the few teams that should go 12-0.
And they're going to get to the college football playoff, and we're going to know nothing about them.
They play USC the second to last week.
They get it at home?
Yes.
Coming off a bye?
No.
Okay. So almost every advantage you can humanly possibly get.
Yeah, The schedule is extremely favorable.
So that's a 11-1 schedule, 10-2 schedule.
10-2 at worst, and
worst
again,
case scenario, you're still a playoff team.
Yeah.
Are you with that schedule though?
Maybe we'll find out. I mean,
Depends on-
you're gonna get a different type of look at you if you're Oregon with a 10-2 schedule than you were last year if Indiana pulled the 10-2. You see what I'm saying? You get benefit of the doubt because you're Oregon and you're Dan Lane.
10-2 is still third best team in the Big Ten, even if you don't make the conference championship.
You're probably going at that point. All right, moving on. Number 5, Clemson. Only question about Clemson, 2 questions. 1, what the hell with the running back? Like, what are we going to do there? And 2, when you get there, because I'm assuming you're going to get there, are you going to be able to hang with the big boys? Is your roster high enough caliber to get after it with the Texases, the Ohio States, the Georgias, the Penn States now when you get there?
Yeah, the whole everything I'm seeing to where people are buying Clemson preseason is because they should go through the ACC. They are so far ahead on paper, better than every team in the ACC this year. Even Miami, who we talked about, has really, really high upside. Clemson is the best team in the ACC by far. I think that's where it stops, though, of talent-wise and being the best. They're going to have one of the more experienced rosters in the college football playoff.
Yeah.
Like the amount of continuity they have, the amount of guys that they've had return. Cade Klubnik has a very good argument for being the best quarterback in college football this season. I just think that they have a ceiling that's a little bit lower than everyone else's.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that's kind of what the projection is for Clemson, is that they are this is the range that they're going to finish in by season's end. In my opinion, like they're going to be a 5 seed or they'll be a top 4 seed if they win the ACC, but they'll be in this range. It is just a question of, are they going to be able to compete once they get there? But I think you saw some signs of it later in the year that they were becoming a better football team, that you saw improvements on both sides of the football for them. That Texas game got competitive there at the end, but you have to get better than that. Like, we can't just be saying that, oh, you're Clemson and you are competitive with Texas.
They might be able to get to that point in the season and out defense and out execute teams.
They're a matchups based team completely in the playoff.
Honestly, I kind of think they always have been.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But I think they're going to walk through the ACC. That's the way. And you seem to be a little bit more hesitant on that than everybody else. But you're right. Everybody else is looking at it like, oh, it's Clemson, then the rest of that conference. We'll see what it ultimately plays out with. Now, number 4. We did a consensus. We put all of our rankings into a machine, and they told us how we consensusly rank these teams. I wanted to put Penn State at number 1 just to put all the pressure in the world on James Franklin, even though it's not like he listens to this show. But number 4, Penn State right here.
Again,
thoughts on the Nittany Lions?
I like Penn State in this position. I think that, again, you look at one of the things that few college football teams seem to have, a lot of returning starters and a quarterback that's been around for a long time, has played a lot of football. There's not a lot of teams in the top 25 that have that, and I think that's why we're kind of buying the Penn State hype, included with the fact that they made a deep run in the playoffs last year. They were one of the final 4 teams remaining. They were this close to a national championship appearance, and people believe that James Franklin is turning the corner. So I like this position for them. I'm not putting them any higher than that, though, because they haven't proven to me otherwise.
Let me just run something by you. Now, look, I know they went out and they added Kyron Hudson. They went out and added Devontae Ross. They went out and added Trebor Pena, the kid from Syracuse. But why didn't James Franklin just dedicate half of his salary to a real projectable, maybe first-round draft pick at wide receiver?
Don't know.
Because if they had a real difference maker, for example, if they had Ryan Wingo on this team, I'm not even going as far as to say Jeremiah Smith, because that's a little bit crazy. Mm-hmm. Or what if they poached Josiah Schrader down there in Miami? How much differently would you feel about Penn State going into this year if they had a guaranteed,
I gotta be honest,
NFL wide receiver? You're going to tell me no different because you're an anti-Franklin guy.
Not that different. It's not anti-Franklin. It's just anti the fact that you haven't beaten a top 10 team in 5 years.
Yeah.
That's my biggest hang-up. And yes, you can blame weapons. Yes, you can blame quarterback play. There is something to be said when a team routinely loses games like this. And that's just the issue that I've had with them.
Yeah, I mean, not having one of those difference makers in the wide receiver room on top of losing your biggest difference maker last year offensively in Tyler Warren, And again, the continuing questions of Drew Aller, what does his play look like? I mean, it just hasn't been there. And I've pointed to it. It really hasn't even been a James Franklin issue in big games. I would say it's been a Drew Aller issue in big games. I mean, averaging a 53% completion percentage against like top 15 opponents, it's just not going to cut it from from what you're expecting Drew Aller to be. You can't have that. And so if that continues to be the case for them, then I will continue to think the same thing that I have always about Penn State, is that you're the third best team in the Big Ten, and that's it. And I'm not going to be picking you to really make a deep run in the college football playoff.
We got a Drew Aller film study coming up. I think we're going to record that tomorrow and get that out tomorrow. Boy, is that offense high school-y. Now look, very creative human being is Andy Catalanecki. That being said, I could imagine a defensive coach wanting to pull his hair out watching that at practice. We got offensive guards out there playing wide receiver, motioning in, pretending to block. Like, we're just doing a lot to get Tyler Warren open. But there are going to be some explosives in that offense, despite the fact that they have no weaponry. But the Trayvon Pena kid's legit.
Oh, I like him. For sure. I like him a lot.
Like, he did a lot last year in the ACC. We'll see. They at least tried. That's what we talked about with LSU. You got to try. You got to try to address these issues. If not, you're just sitting on your hands. We're going to criticize you. Number 3, did you have something else?
Nope.
Oh, number 3 on our board, Georgia. My notes say a blue chip roster with a tough schedule that broke every way in their favor. 3 true road games this year, being Tennessee, Auburn, Mississippi State. Neyland's tough, Jordan-Hare's tough. The rosters aren't, okay? Or at least you should have a significant advantage in those situations. Those road games broke your favor, as did the home games. You get Ole Miss at home, Bama, and Texas at home. You get a bye week before Bama and a bye week before Florida. The schedule is tough in terms of the logos on it. Where you get them, how you get them, and when you get them is much, much more absorbable than it was a year ago.
We're in territory with the list now, and I think we've gotten there since the top 5, where I look at it, it's like, wow, we ranked them that high, and Georgia's one of these teams. But then again, it's like you said, a blue chip roster with a favorable schedule, despite the fact that you play Texas, despite the fact that you play Alabama. There's a lot of things and upside to buy on Georgia here. There's also a lot of question marks. What we saw last year from a Kirby Smart team was not the standard. And if that carries over into 2025, they're going to be even worse. Like, that's just the reality of it.
Like, I'm going to go ahead and let you know, Texas is number 2 right here. They're the same exact answer. The only difference is they have Arch Manning instead of Gunner. Mm-hmm. And we're a little bit more bullish on what Arch has put on tape than what Gunner has as of right now.
Yeah.
I think it's
kind of the same conversation once you get into this range for all of these teams, because like our top 3 teams are in very, very similar positions of quarterback. What's that going to look like this year? How great is that going to be? What's the ceiling for those guys? Everything else around them feels really solid, though. Like, all the other remaining pieces feel really solid about them. Teams that consistently recruit in the top 10, top 5. It just always feels like the safe bet that these 3 teams, they're going to be good.
Any more thoughts on Georgia at 3?
Mm-mm.
Texas at 2. My biggest question about Texas, obviously they lost a bunch of defensive linemen. I was really up on their tackles last year, 56 and Kelvin Banks. Now, I know every time I talk about this, Texas fans remind me how much those 2 got stuffed in a locker against Georgia. But if that's the standard, y'all played 13 other football games that were really important in your season last year, and I felt like Kelvin Banks and number 56, who I always forget his name of, were really, really good last year, and you got to replace both of them. Okay, I know Brandon Baker was a really highly touted recruit. I know the left tackle was a really, really highly touted recruit. We'll see if they ultimately play like the 2 guys I thought played really, really well last year. Cameron Williams. Okay, my man Cam Williams was a good football player. All right, and we'll see if you can replace all of that, but we talked about it. No different than Georgia, no different than Ohio State, no different than a lot of these programs that recruit the way that these guys do. It's peel and replace. Mm-hmm. Oh, boo-hoo. You lost 10 guys to the NFL draft. You just signed 25 blue chippers. I don't feel sorry for you.
No. And I think that's kind of where we're at with Texas right now. And it's also the momentum behind them, building up of Arch is coming in, the recruiting trail's going very well. It feels like Steve Sarkisian has not only made himself a known commodity at Texas, but cemented himself that he's going to be at this program for a long time.
Absolutely. And number 1 on our board, preseason top 25, warranted and earned Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, look,
Tip of the cap.
Yeah.
You win the Natty the year before. I feel like you deserve to be proven to have that number one spot taken. And there's not, like we just went through, there's not a clear-cut number one team. Like, we even sat here pre-show trying to debate, like, starting for number one, and no one could agree on anything because there is not a clear-cut number one team. So I'm fine with Ohio State being at number one right now.
Now, if we put this poll on Twitter and told them a machine created it, will it just drum up all kinds of, what do you call it, interactions, engagements? Or do you think it's too much of a ball knowers list? I run into that. When I put out these lists, everyone's just like, based. That's not what you need. We need something in here that's going to stir the fire.
I think Ohio State at one will stir the fire.
You think so?
Yeah.
All right. I don't think any quarterback in college football has a better situation.
Nope. No. Definitely not.
Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, and Brandon Ennis don't get half bad there. Huh?
Not at all.
Dang, I have to throw it to some of the best receivers in college football.
We had a Penn State fan show up in the chat, and he is getting obliterated. He's put up a good fight, though.
Respect.
Put up a good fight there, Penn State Sports Talk.
He even digging deep. He's bringing back Franklin's SEC days.
Hell yeah. Y'all thought this was fun. Wait till next hour. We're going to go through a full depth check here on the Georgia Bulldogs as fall camp is right around the corner. See you on the other side.
Welcome into Talk the Dog, the show where we find a bone to pick and a take to give. These are not hot takes. These is dog takes. Can I talk that dog? What's up? Really like that. You really like that? Let's shut up and grind some tape.
Welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen, to the local hour. I want to tease a couple things for you guys. We studied Thomas Castellanos today. You should take a look at that. My man was yapping all offseason. We showed you why. All right, so take a look at that if you haven't already. Like I mentioned earlier, we will be studying Drew Aller tomorrow on the network. So if you've ever wondered why people think that guy's a first-round pick while other people think he's the worst quarterback in college football, I'll show you why tomorrow. But here's the local hour, and we've got college football coming up ASAP. Thursday is Kirby Smart's first press conference of the season, which normally means Wednesday is the first practice of the year, which, if my dates check out correctly, that sounds about right.
We get hot off the presser?
Yeah, Thursday. We'll be coming. Well, no. Noon presser. So it won't be hot. It'll be 6 hours off
lukewarm
the
off the press.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be a warm, presser.
All right.
It'll be wife made dinner, left it in the microwave for you warm.
Oh, okay. I can get with that.
That shit hits. You know what I'm talking about.
I can get with that.
Wife made dinner, left it in the microwave for you. Ooh, that's a good feeling, bro.
I eat food cold all the time, anyways.
I mean, it's not about whether or not you're eating it cold, whether or not you're eating it warm. It's about the fact that your old lady made dinner for you and put it in the microwave.
It's already on the plate, man.
It's already on the plate. It's got the little cover thing it in the microwave. Ooh, it's a whole reason to get married right there. You know what I mean? One of the many.
You should look into that.
You should. You should look into that.
I'll consider it, yeah.
Welcome into the local hour. We got a load of them for you. We're going to go through our full depth check, okay? So we're going to spend about 50 minutes up there at that board. Make sure Epic Pen is ready for me, Jonathan. All right, we're going to go over there and go through this entirely, offense and defense. There have been some changes since we've made this depth check happen on this channel dating back in the spring, okay? A couple things have changed just a tad bit. New transfers coming in, a couple new talking points to go over. As you can see, I'm just ad-libbing right now while my man gets this here Epic Pen ready. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribing to the network already. Just passed over 49,000. Little golf clap for the boys. Passed over 49,000. Trying to go to 50,000. Okay. So trying to get there very, very soon. Let's go to this board. All right. Oh, dude.
Was it on the whole time?
We've been unmuted the whole entire time. Audio's been sucking.
Nobody said anything?
All good. They don't know.
Someone did say you sounded stuffy at the start.
Well, no, that's just me sounding stuffy because I sound stuffy. But no, I've been muted. God!
All right, we'll start from the top. We'll end the stream. Let's restart.
Let's do another.
Number 25.
Stuff makes me so frustrated, man.
Got to play the next play.
I know you got to play the next play,
Flush
but it's just, God dang it, man. Bro, we're so close to being the standard, I think, to being the best available college football product that is there on the internet.
Chat's backing you up. They're saying audio is completely fine.
Then we do shit like that. All right. Let's start with the offense. All right, we're going to start with the offensive line here. All right, and look, I don't want to hear nothing about my handwriting, okay? If you've ever been in a college football meeting room, if you're looking for somebody who's got good handwriting, go somewhere else. And it just ain't going to happen here, all right? So here we go. Left tackle, left guard, center, right guard, right tackle. Now, we're doing two deeps today, all right, on this particular segment with the offensive line. We're not going to go full 17 guys here today. All right. Now, do you think Monroe Freeland's going to play left tackle or Ernest Green's going to play left tackle?
I'm going to say Ernest Green to start.
You think so?
I think so.
They had him at left tackle last year, though, is the interesting thing.
I know.
And it injured, like, they knew he was injured, and they still put him out there. So, I would say that tells you what they think of him.
But Monroe Freeland's the future. And Monroe Freeland's ceiling at left tackle is far, far higher.
I don't disagree with that.
I also think if Ernest, if you're going to play tackle, it's that right tackle in the league, buddy. Ain't nobody letting you play left. So I think we need to have a real conversation. I think we need to have a conversation about this being our future and our present at left tackle. All right, and you, big dog, going over here. What do y'all think about that?
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree.
You think that's fair?
I think it's fair.
I think it's fair as well.
I was more so just going off history of Kirby Smart.
All right, let's finish off this starting unit right here. Micah Morris is an obvious right here, left guard.
Yep.
Been waiting his turn at the University of Georgia. It's his time to go. Everybody knows I'm a big Drew Bobo fan. All right, y'all going to be in for a treat when it comes to film study this year. I'm going to be so giddy to turn the tape on Sunday afternoons to see what Drew Bobo has done that piques my fancy. All right, right guard's the one position right here on the offensive line that I think is really up for question this fall camp. Is Daniel Calhoun going to solidify himself? It looked like he was going to do that during the spring. Then obviously has the foot injury out the rest of the spring. Michael Unai steps in there after him. So we'll put Michael Unai in there at right guard behind him as an option. All right. And we're going to put Juan Gaston over here at left tackle or left guard. I think Juan Gaston's in that running here as well, or in that discussion. Okay. This is the real wild card. Who is Juan Gaston going to run down? I think at some point, what and where and when is the real question about Juan Gaston this year. I think he's a really highly touted, not only prospect, but he's done enough already to kind of cement himself as a threat in there in that room. At backup left tackle, we're going to go Bo Hughley. All right. And then at right tackle, we're going to go Jamal Merriweather. All right. Who has been a blessing in disguise considering what's happened over the last couple of weeks. All right, in at center. Now, here's the question. Camp, I got Malachi Tolliver. All right, but how soon and how quickly, it's one of our many talking points up here on this offensive line discussion. How soon and how quickly is it either Cortez Smith, the highly touted center out of Parkview, they've thought of this guy as like the next best blue chip prospect at the center position since Cedric Van Pran, or the transfer from UCF, Walt Flynn, who's by way of Grayson. All right, spent a year down there in Orlando with UCF out of Grayson, was recruited by Georgia out of high school, comes back to UGA now as a transfer. I would imagine he's in that too deep. He's probably traveling midway through the year, I would imagine. Okay, the reason they added him in there, based off what I know, is they were really worried if Drew got hurt, they're in a position where, are we going to have to start Malachi Tolliver? Are we going to have to teach Micah Morris how to snap? You know what I'm saying? Are we going to start a true freshman? Like that kind of situation. So they threw a bunch of bodies, or a couple of bodies at that. I'm going to assume no Jaw Jackson.
Safe to assume.
Safe to assume. No need to talk about it, I guess, right there. The really talking point, like we mentioned, is Juan Gaston going to run one of these guys down? Any other thoughts, comments, questions, concerns?
I was just going to say that as much turnover that they have had on the offensive line, still feels pretty cut and dry.
Some known commodities, at least.
All right, guys that I feel if we played him today, you'd be all right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, with questions about 8, 9, and 10.
Yeah.
You're 7 deep, okay? Not a lot of SEC programs 7 deep. Not a lot of Big Ten programs 7 deep. This is a position that's gotten way thinner than everybody else's position groups because of the portal. All right. There's 5 of these playing time spots available at every school, meaning these backups are transferring at a higher rate. All right. Let's go on to our next position on the offensive side of the football. Let's move on to tight end. Now, I broke down tight end pretty simply for you guys in pairs. All right. I look at the tight end depth chart as we have to be ready to go 12 personnel, meaning we have to run 3 deep, or in this case 2 deep, with options to move in and out. All right, so that first group of 12 personnel depth, all right, is obviously Oscar Delp, okay, and Lawson Lucky. All right, the alternate, if you will, for that group is Jaden Riddell. All right, y'all see how I'm doing that? I think Jaden Riddell is going to have to be ready to replace either of those guys if they get hurt week 1, game 1. All right, that second group is obviously Elias Williams, okay, and my man Ethan Barbour. All right.
Oh, already, huh?
Well, you'll see what I'm going here. All right, with their alternate as Colton Heinrich.
Nice.
I think that's how I would open practice, and that's how I would practice most of the year. Okay? What are y'all chuckling about? Hand
Dude,
see you later.
The Penn State fan is holding it down in chat.
He's still in here.
Oh, he getting after it?
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah. Make it about you, baby. Get in there and make it about you. That's all I'm saying. What do y'all think? Hey, it's probably the deepest room on the roster.
Yeah.
It's a very deep room, and I would be very excited to know that the top 3 are going to take major steps forward. Not that they were bad last year, not that they need improvement, but you didn't have a star at the tight end position last year. And that's easy to notice when Brock Bowers isn't on the roster. But
now, this next position group, I think, has more questions or at least more answers created during fall camp than any other group. It's our running back room. All right? Your running back room is up for grabs. What is not up for grabs is who the feature back is. We all know it's the Nate Frazier show at Georgia. We also know who your third down gadget back is, don't we? We
Mr.
know
Jones.
That's Cash Jones. So we know those 2 things. The real question, and I'm going to put all of these guys in the same kind of like bullet point area, is where does Josh McCray fit in on this offense immediately, right? Where does my man Chauncey Bowens fit in on this offense, right? Where does Dwight Phillips? We're going to put Dwight Phillips over here in a big off to the side question mark with a circle, and we're going to leave him right there for the wide receivers group because there's a bunch of questions about that right there. Rod Robinson, right? When is he going to be 100%? What does his 100% look like? All right, a lot of questions right there at that position. And then, of course, Bo Walker, the other freshman that enrolled this year as well. Okay, a lot of questions about what is ultimately going to happen at this secondary carry position. And
it's not bad questions per se. It's not because, oh man, we don't know who's going to carry the ball for us this year. There's 4 guys that are kind of battling for that spot that we all think are viable to some degree.
Now, the real question to me about this is not only like who is the number 2, but how do you go about figuring that out? Like, how are you going during camp about figuring out who our number 2 is? And also, do you handle business enough in those first 2 games to get all of these guys a lot of rep share prior to going to Neyland Stadium and figuring it out?
Well, I think that regardless of what necessarily a score is in those first 2 games, I think you're going to be working in all of these backs because you want to keep Nate fresh and all of those things. So I think you're going to see all of those names get some totes.
And this one right here, just like real big question mark on how y'all get him touches and how many. Are you making him a focal point in the form of Dwight Phillips? All right, let's move on to the wide receiver group. Now, we're going to separate the wide receiver group in 3 positions: X, Z, and slot. Okay, now this is going to get real hairy here because we got to figure out whether or not you're going to be a 2X system, and that's how we're going to start out. Okay, we're going to start out talking this discussion as a 2X system, meaning Colby Young is in at one of the X's, okay, and Noah Thomas is at the Z. All right, we're going to have 2 big bodies on the field, and in that case, Zachariah Branch is always going to be on the field in the slot. Okay, now that's how I would go. That's how I would play football this year. All right? I would be a 2X system. I would make teams try to figure out how in the hell am I going to cover 2 6'4" plus wide receivers on the outside with that guy running around on the middle of the field. I would be petrified trying to figure that out. If we weren't going to do that, well, we obviously know Noah Thomas is the backup X, right? Mm-hmm. Which means Dylan Bell would be the starting Z. Correct, guys?
Yes.
Correct. All right, so there's that. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I think Zacoby White is not only a serviceable replacement for Zachariah Branch, I think in a couple of years we're going to be talking about him as that type of a weapon. I think he's really, really dangerous with the ball after the catch, with the ball in his hands. All right, that moves over here. I think Dylan Bell, now that you have all these options at wide receiver, I think Dylan Bell is going to get an opportunity to play kind of everywhere. All right, but not really have one home. Does that make sense?
Be the actual Swiss Army knife that it was intended to be.
I mean, return back to what we were in 2023. Like, do exactly what we asked you to do in the year that everybody was bullish on your performance. Play kind of everywhere. Play where we need you to play when we need you to play there. All right, now, big, highly touted prospect right here in C.J. Wiley. I think he gets an opportunity to get some playing time this year. A name that's often forgotten, London Humphreys, in here at Z. By the way, I think he gets a lot of playing time. Of all the threes on this list, I guarantee you London Humphreys is getting on the field playing quite a bit. I got Cole Spear over here in the slot. Big burner. Real special teams threat, though. He ain't going to get a lot of burn on the offensive side of the football. Shout out to special teams. I got Talon Taylor in here, all right, at X or Z, excuse me, as well. Okay, I think I spelled Talon incorrectly, but y'all get the point. And then everyone's favorite player.
There it is.
Do y'all see why I've been on the camp of if this guy gets playing time, something catastrophic has happened? Mm-hmm. He's a great player. She's a great player. But y'all got so much money. Y'all got so much money tied up elsewhere on the roster.
The Jeremy Bell highlights you hope to see this year are in the fourth quarter when you're up 20.
If Jeremy Bell goes for 150 against Mississippi State, y'all winning a national title. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what it ought to feel like, okay? So we shouldn't be out here week one being like, where's 81 at? He going to get his opportunity. Maybe next year especially. All right, but that's a damn deep room. It's probably the deepest that room has looked in a long time.
Oh, boy.
I see you doing it. You doing it. I'm not doing it. Let's go on to quarterback. Let's keep the juice up here, boys. Let's keep the juice up here. It's nice and easy, okay? Gunner.
Who's starting?
Now, I think what I learned, now you correct me if I'm wrong, if I misinterpreted this. Everything I heard from Kirby this at SEC Media Days was basically this. Gunner's our starter for now.
Yeah, there's a leash. Just don't know how
There
long.
is a leash. We don't know what that leash looks like. There's an evaluation period here.
I've never seen Kirby Smart bring a quarterback to media days and then not say he's the starter and make a conceited effort to talk about the other guy. It was very interesting.
Absolutely. All right, we got obviously Puglisi. I think this is one of the more clarified rooms on the team.
And it usually is. That's usually how it works.
All right. Also, when you write it out like this, I think they're definitely going into the transfer portal and adding another. Was it Hezekiah?
Yeah.
Yes. You think they're adding another?
I wrote Zeke. Well, you're at 4 right now. You know, you're at 4 scholarship guys right now. 1, 2, 3, and no, you're at 3. I don't think Hezekiah's on one of the 105s. If we're counting 105s, it ain't making the 105 cut there.
That's going to be an interesting.
Now, all of them are set to return next year, and you add Curtis, so you're at your 4. So maybe I'm misinterpreting. Maybe you don't go into the.
That's an interesting question though, because you don't everyone technically is on scholarship now. What do you use for metrics on quarterback room? Is it still just we need 4 in the room, or is it
one of those unanswerable questions? I think, because I don't know how. Like the Sam Pittman comment.
Yeah.
We're always going to keep us a walk-on scholarship? How? You're mandated 105. So the 104 of your athletes are getting paid, and the 105th is a guaranteed walk-on? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know how that works. All right, so everybody good on quarterback? Mm-hmm. All right. Any thoughts, comments, questions, concerns about the offensive side of football? Chat, bringing anything up, anything we need to talk about before we move over to
So I did see one question about Thomas Blackshear.
Yeah, he's enrolled, right?
Yeah, he's on. I believe he's on the team.
There's one guy on the commits list that is not enrolled. I want to say Rashawn Deakins.
I saw him on the R Lads, but
okay, I saw him on the R Lads. But when I looked at 24/7's commit list for 2025, there was one player that has not technically enrolled, still listed as a verbal commit, which I thought was interesting when I saw it. That's the only reason I brought it up.
I will say, so there is not. Well, no, there is. There's a roster profile for Dinkins.
Okay. All right, so we're good. Everyone's enrolled. All right, let's move on. Nose tackle on the defensive side of the football. All right, now, I think you're thin here.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're going to be looking for somebody. Somebody's going to get demoted from D tackle to nose tackle this year, especially when you write it out like this. All right, I think Xavier McLeod is your obvious starter, and I think he's probably going to have to play more snaps than any nose tackle you've had play for you in the last several years. That includes Nas. Nas didn't come off the field because he didn't have an option. All right, they didn't have many backups behind him. They still don't. I think there is a battle during camp between Nnamdi Ogboko, who is a mountain of a human being, and Nazir Johnson, who I think is the biggest freak athlete in the room, but just has to put the tape on.
Yeah.
All right, he looks gorgeous when he's out there playing. We just got to play a lot more consistent. But when you write it out like this, all right, in comparison to what I'm going to do with defensive tackle here in just a second, you're going to realize that somebody's going to have to kick in. If you're looking for playing time, it ain't at the 3-tech spot. It's going to be at nose tackle. Let's go look at this defensive tackle list, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Kristen Miller is the obvious front runner in this group right here, followed by Jordan Hall, who is in the closest definition to a contract year a college football player could possibly be in because of who's behind him. But I'm going to go ahead and put Elijah Griffin as the number 3 right now. All right, I think he's that highly touted as a true freshman. I think they think that highly of him as a true freshman. I think they're going to try to get him on the field. After that, I'm a big fan of Jordan Thomas. Okay, that's some of the nastiest, ugliest defensive line tape I've seen at Georgia recently. He don't get it done pretty. He gets it done ugly. All right, and it's all right to get it done ugly every once in a while. Joshua Horton, the transfer from Miami, I have been told will be getting playing time this year. How much and how frequent, we'll find out this fall camp, but I'm going to tell you what, he's going to be getting some burn. Now, J.J. Hane as well, I've been told has a motor akin to J.J. Watt. All right, so when you look at all of these names, somebody's going to have to kick in. Now, here's the problem. This dude physically can't do it. He's not big enough. Jordan Hall's like 6'3", 290 pounds. He's a twitchy 3-tech that wins with traits and athleticism. That ain't him. Say, I don't want this guy playing nose tackle. It ain't happening. I don't want this guy playing nose tackle. It ain't happening. So I'm looking at one of you 3 down here. Okay, and look, this guy's a high school defensive end. He might be playing D-end here, to be honest with you, to add depth there. So when I look at the roster, I see 3 bodies that I know can play nose tackle. These 2 guys are completely unproven. This dude's going to be sucking for oxygen all 4 quarters because we don't have enough bodies there. One of you guys is going to have to move. Agree or disagree?
Completely agree.
Yeah.
Who do you think it would be of those 3?
I can't figure it out. I want him playing defensive end, so it's not him. All right? I think Jordan Thomas can do this. Mm-hmm. I think Jordan Thomas can get in there and anchor. All right? I think he can do all that good stuff. Let's move on to defensive end. What's
talking about, though, going back to like the point of Kirby Smart said some things at media days that maybe he typically wouldn't say. Him raving about Elijah Griffin, him talking about a true freshman the way he did at SEC media days, you don't see that a whole lot either.
Well, you only see it when he knows the guy's going to play. He talked KJ Bolden up last year.
He did,
during the offseason. We knew he was going to play. Elijah's going to play. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to defensive end. And I think we need to do defensive end and Jack on the same list as well, because I think there's going to be a lot of flip-flopping here between guys that can play both. All right, let's start with defensive end. I think you're going to start the year with Gabe Harris as your number 1 right there, with Q Johnson playing on the flip side of him. All right, now, and I think we alluded to this during the spring, guys. Y'all have kind of paired a bunch of bodies that all look similar. Mm-hmm. The physical mold right now, whether or not you play defensive end or whether or not you play Jack, is 6'5", 265. That's what they want. And they want guys that can do both. This guy's 6'5", 250 pounds. This guy's 6'5", 250 pounds. Okay, you're going to hear that a lot about all of these body types. That's why I do think they're going to be so interchangeable, more so than ever. Used to, this guy was closer to Malik Herring's build, and this guy looked like Azeez Ojulari. Now they're all looking like Trayvon Walker. So there's that. All right, not playing like Trayvon Walker yet, but they all look like him physically. All right, let's continue with this list right here. JJA, Joseph Jonah Ajonye. Not only is a guy that got hurt last year, wasn't able to practice this spring. Very curious now. Hey, I take that back. He fought his way back onto the practice field and played during G-Day.
You're right.
Tough dude. Showed me toughness this spring. I learned a lot about him, okay, more so than just, he's a talented football player. Isaiah Gibson right here as well, another true freshman that I think is going to have to get playing time for this football team at this position. Justin Green, all right, as well, been bypassed by some younger football players, but they knew that was going to happen when they landed the kid out of high school. All right, let's go back over here to Jack. The big addition this offseason, Elo Madozi. Why are we not? Okay, I was touching the screen with my book. All right, Elo right there. These two could be flip-flopped, okay? Whoever, we don't know. You don't bring transfers in that are upperclassmen unless you expect them to get some playing time. We expect Elo to play. I think they're going to be interchangeable. Darian Ikanangba, or who they're calling Icky. Is that how they're doing that?
I believe so.
I like it.
Ikanagban. All right, Darren Ikanagban, who is a monstrous human being. All right, Chris Jones has also moved full-time into the jack position, and I'm going to tell you right now, Chris Cole is going to get a lot of burn at this jack position this year as well. I told you guys before the show, I think this is going to be a lot like these last couple of guys. Remember that time when Adam Anderson got in some trouble and all of a sudden Georgia looked up and they didn't really have a jack, so they kind of played Quay Walker at it because they thought, 6'4", 230, you'll be able to figure it out. And he went to Tennessee and didn't really have a very good game, but midway through the third quarter they were like, hey, let's see if Channing can do this. And then Channing Tindall got in there and created a bunch of sacks. I think that's what this position is going to be like, specifically on third down. I think on third down, you're going to, early on in the year, throw a bunch of shit at the wall and hope it sticks. All right, and somebody's going to get home. Somebody's going to win. That guy's going to be your situational pass rusher moving forward.
You want to talk about a room that feels a lot better now than it did at the start of the offseason? These two rooms.
Yeah.
Now, you still have some questions, but we went into the offseason
who's playing?
Who the heck are you going to play there?
Yeah, who are you going to play at these certain positions? All right, let's move on. Easiest positions in the group defensively to go through. It's very similar, honestly, to how we broke down the linebacker room. Now, they call this Money and Mike at Georgia. That's not how we do it on this channel. We teach the linebacker position very, very simply. If you go into empty, which linebacker leaves the box, we call that guy the Willie. The guy that stays in the box, that's the Mike. For those of you sitting at home, if anybody went empty back in the day, Quay Walker was leaving the box and Nakobe Dean was staying in the box. All right, we all get it. All right, back in the day, if they went empty, Tay Crowder was leaving the box, Monty Rice was staying in the box. All right, we all understand the separations between Mike and Will now. All right, the Mike position this year is nice and easy. It's C.J. Allen. All right, and his counterpart at Will to start the season is Raylan Wilson. All right, the following pair behind those two are Justin Williams, okay, and obviously Chris Cole. Now, here's what both of these guys at these quote-unquote starting positions got to worry about. The two dudes behind them are really, really good. Now, here's what this guy's really, really got to worry about. These guys are all interchangeable. They're cross-trained. All right, they have been cross-trained at Mike and Will, or Money and Mike, whatever you want to call it. They've been cross-trained. So not only does this dude have to look over his shoulder for that guy, this dude has to look over his shoulder for that guy. And both of them are really, really freaking good. I think at some point this year, you just see them all rotating. I really do, okay? There was that year where Monty would take a snap, Quay would take a snap or a series, and then Nakobe would come in for one of them, and then the next series would relieve the other one. I think you could see a full-on rotation. Now, Anthony Crua is right behind these guys, who they are very, very pleasantly surprised with Anthony Crua. They knew he was a really, really good football player coming out of high school, but they didn't realize he was going to be as early impactful and early ready as he already is. And obviously Zayden Walker is available for this roster as well. Really, really deep group, probably the second deepest group on the roster. Would you take this group or the tight ends group, boys?
That group.
That's such a weird question.
Linebacker.
Give me the linebacker group as well. You have
Shoe or Hartley?
Ooh.
Oh, I'm gonna go Shoe because I feel like he's
One's a coordinator.
Yeah, he's more integral in the defensive holistically. So
I like that. All right, let's move on. Let's go to the nickel spot. I think this is nice and cut and dry too, at least at the starter spot. What's really a question is how are you backfilling this position? Okay, we know Jonel Aguero is the guy, and it sounds to me like Jonel has done nothing but improve as a football player, just gotten better and better and better and better in the areas that you needed him to get better at. He's got to be a better cover guy in that nickel slot corner spot, and he's done a much better job. It so sounds. Now, the real question is who's behind him, and who's behind him is impacted by who loses the safety spots job. Okay, I think if they had to play tomorrow without Jonel Aguero, I think there's without a doubt in my mind 100% chance Ja'Cory Thomas is the starting nickel. Okay, so he's the backup in my mind. Behind him, I'm going with Kyron Jones. All right, but here's the real thing for me. Based off what I know about the players themselves and the positions that are required, the things that are required at certain positions, I think the answer at this spot is two names that just got there, okay? I think it's Adrian Maddox. I think would be a hellified star for this football program based off his skill sets. And I think Jaden Harris would be a dynamic cover slot corner, all right, if given the opportunity. I think these two are wild cards at this position. I think this is what they open the season with during camp.
So do you think Adrian Maddox and Jaden Harris have kind of been relinquished to that nickel position?
I think this is, hey, you just got here, learn safety. Okay. Learn safety, and once you figure that out, we'll open Pandora's box down here closer to the box with this star position, which is very, very hard to learn. It seems to me that that's what they stick guys at first. All right, we're gonna let you learn safety, and then once we feel comfortable there, we'll move you back down towards this box.
It's funny because they did the opposite with Bullard.
They did. But Bullard's 5'9".
Mm-hmm. Very true.
You know, both these guys are. Whoa!
What'd you do?
I don't know, but I don't like it. That's not good.
Uh-oh.
This has happened to me before. But it's been a long time. It's been a long time since this has happened.
Well, in the meantime, I suppose we can continue talking about it.
All right, we might have lost our visual aid for the audience here. I hope not. We'll figure it out. We just got done with nickel. Let's move on to corner. Corner is nice and simple, okay? Corner is nice and simple. It's Dalen, and can Daniel Harris, bingo, can Daniel Harris hold off the young cats behind him? That's the big question there, right? All right, so let's talk about it. All right, let's go to corner. Oh, we're all over the place.
Hey,
so we're
still
there.
Position.
There's our nickel picture. All right, there's our nickel picture. Let's go on to corner. I like to do this in one firm line. All right, we know Dalen's one of them. All right, and as of right now, we think that Daniel Harris is the number 2.
They always go with experience at this point in the season.
They do. All right, and then I think it's a combination of Ellis and DeMello pushing him for his job right now. All right, if I'm DeMello Jones, I'm going into camp thinking that's the case, or as this word says, Danilo. If I'm Danilo Jones, I'm going into camp thinking I can beat anybody. All right.
So is there an avenue to where Dalen Everett gets rotated as well? I know that he is, quote unquote, the guy right now, but do they give Ellis and DeMello some burn just to see how it pairs with Daniel Harris?
Historically, no. Historically, the answer is no. Historically, Eric Stokes sits out there and DJ Daniel rotates with Tyson Campbell. All right. Historically, Kamari Lassiter stays out there and, somebody's rotating with Dalen. All right. That's normally, we're not rotating 4 guys. Normally, we're rotating 2 at one position. So I think it's a good question. Maybe. But no, I don't think so. When we take Dalen to SEC Media Days, when Dalen plays like he has the last couple of years, Dalen's earned the right to start and be the guy on one side of the field.
I asked that because you said they usually rotate 2. They usually don't rotate 3.
No.
So it's going to be interesting to see how that rotation goes.
All right. Let's move on to safety.
I do want to ask this because I think it sparks up an interesting conversation. Kane J in the chat asks, can DeMello or Ellis play nickel?
On 3rd and long. I think they can. I think Dalen can play nickel on first downs. I think Dalen is physical enough to do that. I think DeMello might be willing enough to do that. Maybe not old enough and big enough yet. Ellis, no. Ellis, Ellis is a pure corner. All right, now, 3rd and 19, it does not matter. 3rd and 19, cover the guy. We have no box responsibilities. We can play any corner out there. But on 1st and 2nd down, run possibilities might be available. I don't know if all of those guys are available to play in the nickel. I know for a fact, sources have told me they have experimented with automatic passing downs, maybe putting Dalen in the slot and putting one of those young corners out there that's earned the right to play. All right, so you will see it. I don't think it's the ifs, ands, or buts. I think at some point this year, you'll see Jonell pulled off the field, Dalen moved into the slot, and then one of those younger corners brought onto the field. All right, safety, we'll do it very, very similarly, okay? There's 2 spots available. One of them is occupied solely by KJ Bolden. All right, if they had to play tomorrow, I think Ja'Cory Thomas gets the start, and I think within 3 or 4 series, Zion Branch is on the field, okay? I think by week 5, week 6, Zion Branch might have that job. I think by the end of fall camp, there's an opportunity that Zion Branch might have that job. He's played really, really well since he's gotten on campus. All right, behind him, we're going with the transfer trio. All right, Adrian Maddox. All right, and then you got Jaden Harris. All right, and then that's about it. It gets pretty thin pretty quick.
So
Todd Robinson, the freshman from Valdosta as well. Who's going to be a really good football player.
So in a weird way, they're thinner at safety than they are at the star position.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they threw bodies at the safety position. Now, I think they threw bodies at the safety position that might convert to star. It's just your star position is really, really hard to learn.
Yeah.
I think Jaden Harris is going to be an NFL nickel. I don't know if Jaden Harris is going to be an NFL true corner, all right, or a true safety especially. All right, they've played him at safety last year at Miami, and he looked relatively lost, like a young man who had just started playing safety. He's a high school corner that was a 4-star prospect, got bumped to safety in college. I think he could be a really, really good cover corner in the nickel, very akin to Mark Webb. He's got very similar skill sets to a player like that. All right, that's the depth check.
We got some people asking about Dominic Kelly.
Oh, yeah, he's on this list too. He's right. We'll just put him over here. He's above top. Well, he's a corner.
Yeah.
He's a corner. And the rare underclassmen that reclassed that came to Georgia, they're like, he's ready. He's good. We're not worried about it. It's not going to take too long. They really, really like Dominic Kelly. I like Dominic Kelly. Bow-legged athlete.
I think Dom Kelly is a 2026 guy.
No.
He was a 2026 guy.
No. I'm saying like
when he's going to
2026 is the year to be ready for Dom Kelly.
I mean, and that's his graduating class. I mean, he's supposed to be in this class right now. This 2026 recruiting class. So, yeah, no, I'm with you. I think, a couple of years from now, it's going to be his time.
No special teams?
I wasn't even going to ask, dude.
You guys, I just stood up on that board and poured my heart out for an hour, and you guys want to ask me about special teams.
This is a fair question. Who's your PR and KR this year?
Punt return, Zachariah Branch. Kick return, Jeremy Bell, just so people will shut up. No, I'm just kidding. I could see him back there, honestly.
I would imagine kick returns, Zach and Cash.
Most likely.
Yeah, that checks out. Who are you most excited about?
At where?
Yeah, just in general.
I mean, Zachariah Branch, because of just all the ways that he can be explosive for your team.
Yeah.
Whether it's and the avenue that we drew out, whether Georgia's in 11 personnel, 12 personnel, they're doing the 2X system or the X and Z system. Zachariah Branch is going to be featured on the field unless he is fatigued. There's no avenue where Zachariah is off the field because of the position or the formation. So I feel like he's one of the more exciting additions.
Probably Colby Young for me. That's probably the one that I'm most excited about, and it probably has more to do with the fact that they haven't had a Colby Young for a whole season in a long time. So I think it more has to do with the fact more so than it does even with Colby Young, but just having him out there for hopefully 12 games.
For me, it's Elijah Griffin, and it's because I'll be honest, and no one will ever tell you this. No one. I don't think they will. I didn't get it in high school. To be honest with you, I still don't really get it. When I saw Elijah Griffin, I was like, great player, top 100 player, top 50 player, maybe top 25. But when Georgia sources are like, hey, this is Jalen Carter reincarnated, I'm like, I turn my head, I'm like, I don't see that. But they do, and they know a whole hell of a lot more football than even I do, or I think I do. You know what I mean? So when you're that bullish, I'm curious to figure out why. I want to see why. Because I want to see why on a college field. Because I saw it on a high school field, and again, it looked great. But Jalen Carter, dude? Chill out.
It's a high ceiling.
It's a high ceiling. I'm curious to see what it looks like.
I do think it'll be interesting how the interior defensive lineman rotation goes this year, and simply what they do with that nose tackle position. Because, like you said, it is naturally more thin, and there's going to be someone that you have to plug in there and just see who's ready.
Why is that? Was Jordan just that one of a kind?
Your
football player. They've just been without a massive nose tackle, like a real difference maker. I would argue Nas is a big human, but I've seen 6'4", 310-pound defensive tackles on Sunday. Not nose tackles. Nose tackles are 6'5", 330.
I think that. The further we get from it, you're 4 years removed from Jordan Davis taking a snap in a Georgia jersey, and there has not, and we have talked about it time and time again, there's not a Jordan Davis on this roster.
There's not even a recruit.
No.
There's not even a prospect right now where it's like, that'll be a great zero.
Well, and again,
college.
Jordan Davis wasn't that.
That's true.
They developed him into that. So, it's... Now, I don't know if they have the 6'7" monster on the roster that's going to become that this year, but I think that... As time goes on, we've talked about this time and time again, we will realize how special that roster was because everything was perfect.
The further we get removed from it, every day, I'm like, wow.
Even more
totally
validating.
Oh, yeah, that's why.
Yeah. But, fire the coordinator.
The interesting thing that I'm really wondering, why has there not been Rod Rob talk this year, this offseason?
Yeah, I just think when you get to a point where... I think people are getting to the point where they don't think it's an option because he hasn't been an option.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I guess so, but
it just gets to that point, man, where you get over-recruited. Other talented people come in, whether it be Nate Frazier, whether it be Josh McCray, whether it be Chauncey Bowens. And you're not healthy.
But the weird thing was the fan base held out hope for Branson Robinson, and it's unfortunate that he could never fully get back to the field.
You hear Nick Chubb, if people tell you anything, there were legitimate media people who compared that kid to Nick Chubb, and that's all it takes. Muscular photos, Nick Chubb comp. I'm buying this stock until the stock transfers, and then I'm going to look up and go, wonder why that didn't work.
Yeah.
That's just how that works.
The Rod Rob stock was super high after that Florida State Orange Bowl.
Yeah, we were really high on it. That Florida State tape is crazy.
Yeah.
That Florida State tape is some of the best 12 carries you'll see from a Georgia back.
That's what I'm saying. Big and facts. It's just that train has come to a screeching halt. Again, he was injured all of the last season. I think he only played in the Georgia Tech game and one other maybe, but still.
The Branson freshman game against Auburn had people hype on.
Oh, big time.
Was it 12 for 98?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Exactly.
So that'll do it.
That was it.
That was it. That was the highlight and pinnacle of Branson's career in Georgia.
Which is unfortunate.
And the multiple TDs and a natty.
and mop-up dude.
His natty performance. No, but those natty touchdowns were like,
ran through like five people.
They were chicken wings touchdowns. They were chicken wing touchdowns.
It's interesting. I'll be very curious to see how the running back room plays out this year.
What kind of two do you think Kirby brings to the mic Thursday?
A little bit of excitement.
He's usually chipper about these first few, and then by like presser number 3, he's just like, we weren't very good today. We're not where we need to be.
We're not where we need to be. Still got a long way to go before the season starts.
Oh, yeah. Got freshmen out there drinking from a fire hose.
He got a long way to go. But I liked our effort. Guys are excited to get back on the grass.
Sometimes he's disappointed in the effort, too.
That's true.
Sometimes the energy's lacking.
It came out really flat. Energy was lacking today.
Yeah.
I want to ask my coach, have you ever been where you needed to be at this point in the year?
Ooh. Coach, would it scare you if you had a perfect practice?
Would you be concerned?
That's a better question. It's like, have you ever walked away from practice at this point of the year and been like, man, we're
too good.
We
fine. Might even take tomorrow off.
Yeah, so... But then you'd be like the smart ass, and then someone's carrying you out of the media room and you're never allowed back.
You think somebody on the Georgia beat can carry me out of a room?
I think there's enough goons that Kirby's got at his disposal that
that's true.
If someone acts out of line, they'll say him, and you're gone.
I got a feeling Ryan Gant could pull me up out of a room by one pinky toe.
Probably.
Just drag me right out of the room.
Like the claw machine?
Yeah.
Probably.
I mean, as many rings as that guy's got on his hands, it's just natural weight, training day to day.
Is it just Kirby Thursday, or are there players going to be there too?
There's players Thursday too.
Who we think we're getting?
Oh, probably the same trio. Actually, no, he'll probably throw 9 guys at us. He started doing that in the spring. Did you notice that?
9?
Dude, in the spring, he was like,
oh, yeah, like, you're
watch
right.
This. Y'all want media availability? Here's 12 football players in a row.
Yeah, I remember this because I
sit in the media room for 6 hours.
I had to leave after 2, and there was 4 more still lined up to go.
Yeah. No, he's getting there now. He's like gone the opposite. So I'm going to tell them to tell you nothing, and I'm going to give you 12 of them. You're going to get a tremendous amount of respects 12 times in a row.
It's fine by me. I can spin a clickbaity headline.
Yeah.
You're admitting to clickbait?
Shouldn't do that.
Clickbaity. There's a difference between clickbait and saying the facts that make the reader want to click.
What's the next Georgia film study we should do? We've ad nauseum studied Gunner. We've looked at Zachariah Branch. We studied Noah Thomas only for somebody to pull that down.
You have all 22 available?
Always.
We even did a Drew Bobo study, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
I'd do a Daniel Harris study.
I hate studying corners, even with all 22.
It's hard because it is an unfair judgment, and there's a lot.
And, I mean, it's foreign to me.
That's fair.
You know? Like, I know what coverage you're in, but why you lost it, I don't know. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's also one of the most positions of...
Could have played the ball there.
No, not even that. Yeah. That guy just made a play.
Yeah, that guy just made a play.
My vote is either CJ Allen or Kristen Miller.
Yeah.
You go interior. I like that.
All right. We'll do something like that. See, people suggest high school guys. Like, I'm not watching a 7-minute highlight tape from Raven Gap.
Kirby Smart pressers for the next film study.
I did have someone suggest that. Like, you should do play-by-play breakdowns of
you could
Kirby.
do the
here's what he actually meant.
Yeah, like
just like do his translator,
the Key and Peele anger translator.
Yeah,
bring that back. You could pull off like an angry Kirby Smart look.
I don't know. I think I could pull out I'm gonna tell you what I really want to tell you, Kirby Smart.
Yeah.
I couldn't do an impression.
No, I mean,
he's not an impressionable person.
No,
he doesn't have like a thing.
He's got a slight.
He doesn't have a cadence. He doesn't have a accent.
He's got an accent,
but it's just a typical Southerner accent. It's not like he doesn't have a twang to him. He doesn't have like a physical.
It's not distinct.
Shtick that he
it's
does.
not distinct
he doesn't have
enough.
He just doesn't have a.
Oh yeah, he does.
Thing.
He does.
You think he has a hand gesture?
Watch his pressures, and
I'll pay attention.
He'll do this the whole time.
Beamer's he says as well 100 times.
Huh.
If you listen to him, he just goes as well, as well, as well.
Beamer?
Yeah.
Huh.
I picked up on it when I saw a South Carolina fan do a meme of, I'm about to say as well so loud during this press conference. And so then when I listened to him at SEC Media Days, that's all I heard was him going, as well, as well.
I'm about to say as well so loud right now.
And it's true.
I'm about to say tremendous amount of respect so motherfucking loud right now. How you going to have tremendous amount of respect from Marshall, Coach?
In fairness to him, he is one of the few coaches where he says that, and I believe it.
In fairness to him also, he's supposed to be on the road to UCLA this year.
Yes, he is.
So I don't want to hear nothing about that.
Man, ruined a LA trip for the boys.
Thank God. That's expensive.
Saved us from one.
So did Ohio State, ducking the smoke.
They're still on the schedule.
Was that one?
Are they?
I think that one's still on the schedule.
I thought those got 2030.
I thought those got canceled.
Yeah, it's like 2030.
I know, but the first one was supposed to be earlier.
2027, I want to say.
That one got dumped, so the 30 one's going to get
I think
dumped.
your next big one is Louisville.
Isn't that funny? How the Big Ten coaches get up there and gallivant all about that, and they're the conference that's constantly ducking these out of conference.
Because they're playing
games.
9, dude. They can't afford another one.
That's right. They're playing 9. Yeah. So, Hey, appreciate you being here tonight. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button on your way out.